Most High is my rock.
My rock.
The Most High is my rock. In the name of Messiah, the Most High is my rock. The Most High is my rock.
My rock.
The Most High is my rock. Yeah. The Most High is my rock. I keep my Bible on cop. The Most High is my rock. No time for cupcake and the cutting. Hit the streets and start cutting. The Israelites are bubbling. The Israelites are coming. I don't celebrate Thanksgiving. You can keep the stuffing. It's pagan, disdain, it's vain, it's nothing. The European Union about to hit the button. And I feel sorry for you if you think the Lord is bluffing. That's why I hit the booth and I tell the truth. Are you fishing with the truth? Homie, where's your fruit? If the Most High is your rock, don't treat him like a side piece. Come in this truth plan and treat you like a side piece. He's the God of mercy and wrath. So do you want to fly or do you
Keep the Bible on cop.
The Most High is my rock.
TK.
Rock.
Shalom, Yasha Allah. Shalom, y'all. Welcome to another class here with ISBHPK. We are located in Houston, Texas. The school address is 8524 South Braeswood Boulevard. We're not there, of course, because of the whole coronavirus thing. So we are at an undisclosed location. And also, we got a school out in Virginia, Norfolk, Virginia. The school address out there is 2610 Granby Street, Norfolk, Virginia. School, the zip code is 23517. And the class times and days out there is Tuesdays and Thursdays from 7 to 9 p.m. and Friday from 7 to 9 p.m. as well. But obviously they're not there as well because of the whole COVID-19 thing. So they're at an undisclosed location as well. So if you got anybody that's in the Houston area or the Virginia area or the San Antonio area, I'm gonna give you all the address in a little bit. Just hit us up. We're gonna give out the contact information and we'll give y'all the addresses or whatever you need so that you can attend class. So also we got a school out in San Antonio, Texas. The school address out there is 4444 Walsham Road, Suite 201. Again, it's 4444 Walsham Road, Suite 201, San Antonio, Texas. Zip code 78218. And just hit us up. We'll get you linked up with the brothers out there as well. I don't think they're having classes at the school either.
No.
And okay.
They're doing class on Zoom.
Okay, so they do class on Zoom. And every Tuesdays and Thursdays, Mashaba does the Blog Talk Radio. Well, Mashaba does it on Thursdays. Tazapah does it on Tuesdays. And it starts at 9:30 a.m., sometimes about 10 a.m., and it's every Tuesdays and Thursdays. So stay tuned for that tomorrow in the morning. You can definitely check that out tomorrow in the morning starting at 10. And Israel, are we back to accepting orders?
No, they're still doing Passover garments.
Okay, so the sisters are still working on Passover garments. So we're not accepting any orders for Israel wear as of yet. So the sisters, they're still working on the Passover garments for those that paid. Still gonna get your garments. If you'd like to contact any of the priests, we got Priest Kwasazat right here to my left. His number is 303-557-8979. We got Priest Kazakia out there in Virginia, Norfolk, Virginia. His number is 281-707-2737. And we ask that you please support our business. Our business is Sweet Ambiance. The flyer should be on the screen so you guys can see that. We ask that you please support the business, especially now because the malls are closed down. The businesses are closed down, so we can't work. So if you would like to support the business, we ask that you definitely do because we still have to pay these school rents, even though everything is shut down. So if you'd like to give a donation, we do got the Wells Fargo account number on the screen. The Google Wallet link is on the screen as well. If you'd like to mail in anything, we ask that you contact us before you mail it in because brothers aren't at the school 24 hours a day. So please contact us before you mail it in. That way we can give you the right address. That way you're able to mail in whatever you like to mail in. But once again, I'd like to reiterate, so with the businesses being shut down, we do need a little help with the school rent. So if the Most High puts it in your heart to give, we ask that you please give a little donation towards the school rent so we can keep the school building, so brothers and sisters can keep coming and learning. And yeah, that's it for the announcements. Oh yeah, so we got the other channels as well. We got we got the Hidden Truth Bible Show, the Israelite Media Corp, the 5 Minutes of Wisdom, and of course ISBHBK Houston. We ask that you like, share, and subscribe. They should have been on the screen. We ask that you please like, share, and subscribe to those other channels as well. So a lot of information that we put out, man. So with that, that'll be it for the announcements. We got an awesome class prepared for tonight, a class that is very useful, especially in this time, where they're finna, food shortages and meat shortages. We don't need to be eating meat like that anyways. So we got an awesome class prepared, man, regarding everybody's health.
A topic that Israel, it can benefit Israel. They got the headlines that more blacks are dying from coronavirus than anybody, right? Like now it's a black thing. And when the reports first came out of people that was catching coronaviruses and dying, it was because of they said it was underlying health issues, diabetes, the asthma, heart disease, hypertension, all those things that we know is prevalent in the Black and Hispanic community. Things from the alcohol abuse, the old drug abuse. So, and then a lot of us just are not educated. We're not educated when it comes to health. We know a little bit here, we know a little bit there. And, we go through these health classes, man, and, we go through talking about eating too much meat and eating the herbs. But what I want to go through is that, but go a little bit deeper into the benefits of certain plants and herbs and the excess of meat, really. What are you eating? And just show you take you into the mind of a consumer and show you as consumers, we're not aware too much of what we put into our bodies. So I call this, I title the class Slave to the Medication because, when you look at the cycle of the way we eat causes us to have to be medicated. Right? The way we have the slave diet, right? The slave diet consists of what? The pork, chitlins, and not just pork. The damn collard greens, right? That was mixed with pork.
The gizzards.
The gizzards, the candied yams, right?
Brains, the
liver. But think about like a traditional, what they call soul food. Soul food is really slave food because it slows you down. You eat all that thick macaroni and cheese, right? You eat all that cornbread. You eat all that heavy food, and then you get what they say, you get the itis, right? I got the itis. But anything that has the word ITS at the end of it is synonymous with inflammation, arthritis, bronchitis. Anything with ITS is synonymous with some sort of inflammation of the system. All right, so we're gonna go through it. It's a lot of info. We're gonna be talking about a little bit of biology, biochemistry. Definitely gonna be hitting the scriptures, and we're gonna see the things that they use in the ancient days. Is it anything different than what we should be doing now?
Okay.
And why there are certain cultures on this earth and certain societies, they live longer. They live longer for a reason, because they incorporate certain things into their diet on a daily basis where it's just, this is traditional. This is traditional. So, I'm going to say this before I start. I'm not a doctor, right? I ain't never healed nobody from nothing, AIDS, anything, right? I'm not saying not to take your medications if you're on them. I'm not saying not to go to the doctor. What I am saying is that if you incorporate a daily regime of the things that we're going to talk about in your diet, then you won't have the need for the medication. You won't have the need for the physician, for the doctor, for the immunizations. That's another thing they're trying to push on our people, is immunizations. right? And they've been pushing that, but now they're going to really be ramping that up because of what's going on with this COVID-19. So let's start out in Daniel. Let's deal with.
Oh, I was gonna say, can I get one right before you do? Like an alley-oop?
What you got?
Quick. It's,
Yeah,
can somebody real quick give me Wisdom of Solomon 4 and 7? No, not Wisdom of Solomon. Proverbs 4 and 7. Proverbs 4 and 7.
and then hold Daniel chapter 1 and verse 3.
Go ahead, brother.
Proverbs chapter 4, verse 7.
Go ahead.
Wisdom is the principal thing.
Go ahead.
Therefore get wisdom. And with all thy getting, get understanding.
So the scripture says that wisdom is the principal thing. So like I'm not gonna say our whole lives, but once you became an Israelite, you started hearing don't eat pork. Start eating in moderation. Start eating things in balance. Start eating more veggies. Start taking care of your body, right?
Done.
So that's the wisdom that's being given to you. But a lot of times, we don't ever look into the full understanding of why we need to start eating less of this or completely stop eating this, or why do I need to start eating more of this? So that's what this class is going to go about. This is what this class is going to go into.
Right.
It was the understanding of why, of what these foods do when you consume them, the negative and the positive effects of both, and why you should consume them, or why you should, consume less.
And we're gonna be on that biochemistry type of level where we're gonna be talking about DNA and genes and nucleotides and cells and those things that we don't really look into these things, and we should know them. And that's why I want to go here first.
Yes, sir.
Is because we should know this. We should know science. We should know biochemistry. We should know how our food interacts with our body.
Done.
We should know what happens when we eat something, what it does with our body, to our body. And I think if we were better educated on that, we would give ourselves to less of the filth.
Yes, sir.
All right, so go to Daniel's 1. Were you done with that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Daniel chapter 1, verse 3.
Daniel chapter 1, verse 3.
Right?
And the king spake unto Ashpenaz, the master of the eunuchs,
Right?
that he should bring certain of the children of Israel,
Right?
and of the king's seed, and of the princes, children of whom was no blemish.
Right? So we know that this is during the time of the Babylonian captivity. This is Daniel, right? Nebuchadnezzar told one of the eunuchs, listen, go fetch some of these children from Israel that had no blemish. Go ahead.
Children in whom was no blemish, but well favored and skillful in all wisdom.
They were what?
Skillful in all wisdom.
Right. Well, no blemish, well favored. That was talking about spiritually. Right? Skillful in all wisdom. Go ahead.
And cunning in knowledge.
Go ahead.
And understanding science.
They understood what?
Understanding science.
These children, they understood science. Now, y'all probably wondering, like, what does it got to do with health? Well, as we read down into just this story alone, we're going to see, like, wait a minute. There was something that Daniel knew scientifically about food in his body that's really what kept him going in this little time that was happening here.
Yeah.
Read on.
And such as had ability in them to stand in the king's palace.
Go ahead.
And whom they might teach the learning and the tongue of the Chaldeans.
Right, go ahead, read on. You're going to read to verse 15.
And the king appointed them a daily provision of the king's meat,
Right.
and of the wine which he drank.
You're going to read to verse 10. Go ahead.
So nourishing them 3 years, that at the end thereof they might stand before the king.
Right, so the king nourished up all the children that he had gathered. Right, he was nourishing them up, and this is talking about food. Nourishing them up so they could stand before him, so they could be presented to him. Go ahead.
Verse 6. Now among these were the children of Judah.
Read.
Daniel.
Right.
Hananiah.
Right.
Mishael.
Right.
And Azariah.
Go ahead. So we know them as Meshach, Shadrach, Abednego. Right.
Yes,
The
sir.
3 holy children. Daniel. Go ahead.
Unto whom the prince of the eunuchs gave names, for he gave unto Daniel the name of Belteshazzar,
Right.
and to Hananiah, Shadrach,
Read.
and to Mishael, Meshach,
Right.
and to Azariah of Abednego.
Right. So they were renamed according to the Babylonians. Renamed them. Right. This eunuch. He took away their Israelite names and gave them Babylonian names. Go ahead.
But Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's meats.
Right. Now, I want y'all to think here because we've been through this story before, and I remember just thinking on it. And when you think about the king's table, like any king's table, it was going to have a little bit of everything. Right? It wasn't, when we look at this story, it wasn't that this Babylonian king just had nothing but defiled foods, like it was pig everything. Pig. Right? Or catfish. He had a bounty. It's the king's table. The nigga had a plethora of different meats. Some lawful, some unlawful. But Daniel said, I'm not going to eat no meat. I'm not going to eat any meat. And let's see how we're going to fare. Read on.
Nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore he requested of the prince of the eunuchs.
So he said, I'm not going to drink meat or wine.
Wow.
Now, you know why I go here? Because the Christians church, they love this. They call this a Daniel fast, right? Like, oh, I'm on a Daniel fast. Like, what does a Daniel fast consist of? And they're like, oh, it's no this, it's no that. But they don't understand even the significance behind the fast, obviously. It's a Daniel's fast. Right? So as we go through, we're going to understand the significance of why did Daniel draw back from meat. What's that?
That's dope because it's like it shows that Daniel had wisdom because in Ecclesiasticus it tells you.
Read it.
It's Ecclesiasticus chapter 31 and verse 12. If thou sit at a bountiful table,
You hold it because we're going to go there.
oh, okay.
Yeah, no, you're good. We're going to go there, though. We're going to read down to that. We're going to go there. Hold that for me. Read on.
Verse 9. Now God had brought Daniel into favor and tender love with the prince of the eunuchs.
Right?
And the prince of the eunuchs said unto Daniel, I fear my lord the king, who hath appointed your meat and your drink. For why should he see your faces worse like to the children which are of your sorts?
Right. So the eunuch was like, listen, you need to eat this meat because if you don't, you're going to look malnutrition. You're going to look malnourished. You're going to look famished. And it's going to fall on me like I'm not feeding y'all. So you need to eat up. You need to eat this meat, drink this wine. Right? Go ahead.
Then shall you make me endanger my head to the king.
Right. Then shall you make me endanger my head to the king. Go ahead.
You know, even shows how much wisdom Daniel had even over his overseer. Because if he had wisdom, he'd know like, oh, they're gonna be good. He's gonna be strong. They're just choosing not to eat like that, but they're still gonna grow up and be strong.
What verse are you at?
Verse 11.
What did I cut out? Yeah, verse 11.
Okay.
Go ahead, read on.
Then said Daniel to Melchizedek, whom the prince of the eunuchs had set over Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, prove thy servants, I beseech thee, 10 days, and let them give us posts to eat and water to drink.
Right?
Then let our countenances be looked upon before thee,
Right?
and the countenance of the children that eat of the portion of the king's meat, and as thou seest, deal with thy servants.
Right, go ahead.
So he consented to them in this matter and proved them 10 days.
Right, so for 10 days, Daniel didn't eat any meat. No meat, no wine. Right, so what did he eat? It's going to tell us. Go ahead.
Verse 15.
Right, and it's going to tell us here. Go ahead.
And at the end of the 10 days, their countenances appeared fairer and fatter in flesh than all the children which did eat the portion
Something got cut out.
of
Go
the
ahead.
king's meat.
Right, so it said their appearances look fatter than what?
In flesh than all the children which did eat the portion of the king's meat.
Go ahead.
Verse 16. Thus Mosiah took away the portion of their meat and the wine that they should drink and gave them pulse.
Gave them pulse. Look that up. So all they ate was pulse. Right? Look that up for me.
Yes, sir.
While I look for this real quick, I think part of my class got cut off.
So pulse.
Yeah, you gotta resend it to me.
It says pulse. It says plants or their seeds. Let me get a better definition.
Actually, you ain't gotta send it to me. Let me
It
just
says,
look at it from here.
What do you have?
Okay, how do I go ahead?
Say the blue letter is Zoroa, that's the Hebrew, and it's saying vegetables.
So he ate vegetables, right? All he ate was vegetables. Now, we've been taught that a meal is not a meal without meat. If you got a plate of vegetables, then that's not actually a complete meal, right?
Come.
They fed that to us with the, remember the
food pyramid.
The food pyramid, and it had meat at the very bottom or whatever it was, but that was like the basis of all your diet was that you had to have a slab of meat. And if you didn't have that slab of meat, you were unhealthy.
Yeah, the food pyramid, whatever you were supposed to eat most of was at the bottom, and then whatever you were supposed to eat less of was at the top. Even that food pyramid, just from people's health and different ailments, has changed from what it used to be.
Right.
You know what's crazy about pulse being vegetables? You ever looked at your blender, and the blender has one of the buttons on the blender was pulse. So you click that pulse.
Yeah, you pulse.
Yeah.
Now,
And it juiced it.
go back to the one that I sent. I sent y'all the same one. I cut out part of the class, man, by accident.
Oh yeah.
Nah, it's not gonna be there. It's all good. I remember it. So pulse was just vegetables.
Was it this?
Why is the screen black?
It went out for a second, but it's back.
Oh, we're back? Right, so pulse. No, you see where it says vegetables? Right. There's a whole part. I want y'all to look up the word lectin.
Lectin.
Right. Lectins. Lectins. It's Lectins. Lectins is very important when it comes to vegetables. So, Daniel and these men, they ate vegetables and they came out, their appearance looked fatter than the ones that were eating meat and drinking wine.
Yes, sir.
Now, am I saying don't ever eat meat? No, this is not a don't eat meat class. This is just a class to educate on and show you that eating meat every single day, drinking wine every single day, that ain't the way to do it. It's unhealthy.
Yes, sir.
Right? So you have the definition. You got lectin. Who got it? What you got?
Lectin.
Right?
It says any of a group of proteins, especially of plants,
Right?
that are not antibodies and do not originate in an immune system, but bind specifically to carbohydrate containing.
Right. So lectins come from plants. Now the thing with lectins are, and I had it all here. I don't know what happened to it. It got cut out. You know, you messing with that Word document.
Yeah.
But lectins are antibodies. Or what they do, they give you a secondary source of antibodies. So an example of lectins, right, they call them nightshade vegetables, right? So legumes, lentils. When you read through the scriptures, we was always eating lentils, right? When Esau rolled up on Jacob and said, give me some of that red pottage, it was lentil stew with meat. But there was lentils. David and his mighty men defended a field of lentils, right? So we ate lentils, beans, peanuts, chickpeas, grains. You got dairy products that have that they build up lectins. Now lectins are they work as a secondary source of antibodies for your immune system. Right. So think about it. Daniel understood this. He was like, no, we're going to be fatter. We're going to be more healthier. Remember, it said it. He was skilled in all science. Biology is science.
Yeah.
Plant biology is science. He knew these things. He said, watch, we're going to eat these plants, and it's going to make us, we're going to be a more healthy looking and more healthy feeling than all these other children. Right? We're going to be clear mentally. Watch, because when we go into the meat, you're going to see that there's something about meat. A lot of people don't know. We don't know what we eat, man, when we eat the meat. And again, I'm not saying discard, never eat meat, because we know the scriptures don't say that. But we have to be more balanced on one side and what's more beneficial for us.
Yes, sir.
If y'all didn't know, plants carry information that talk to us. Y'all like plants talk? Yeah, they talk to us. I'm gonna show y'all as we get there. So, lectins, they're a secondary form of antibodies. Like you have, I'm gonna go back from my memory because, like I said, it got deleted from my Word document. But banana lectins, they say when they took banana lectins and put them, petri dish, and they put the AIDS virus, it destroyed the AIDS virus.
Wow.
The lectins in banana because they're antibodies. Now, what is an antibody? An antibody is a protein produced in response to counteracting a specific antigen. So, if you have a coronavirus, your body will build up antibodies to counteract that virus's effect on your immune system, right? But sometimes, and if you don't eat well, you don't have the amount of antibodies needed. You can say, Shamiyar, you don't have the amount of antibodies needed to fight, right?
Right.
So we have to be giving ourselves to more plants, to more vegetables, to more to getting more lectins in the diet. All it is proteins. Viruses are proteins. Lectins are proteins. Proteins are dead cells, but they activate when they attach. Lectins attach to your proteins in your body, and they'll bond to your red blood cells. And then that's how you build up antibodies, which are your white blood cells, right? But if you have weak antibodies, weak red blood cells, weak white blood cells, that's how viruses attach to you. They'll penetrate the membrane of your cells, and all the virus wants to do is just reproduce.
Okay.
So you produce antibodies naturally. You also get antibodies from your food. Bananas. It tells you, all the nightshade. They call them nightshade vegetables. Tomatoes, potatoes, goji berries, elderberries. Who heard about elderberries? I know Abadiah knows about the elderberry. Different type of peppers.
Yeah.
Your bell peppers, your green peppers, them Scotch bonnets, right? Them Scotch bonnet peppers. Things that grow under the earth. Ginger, roots, turmeric, right?
Yeah.
Things like ginger, turmeric. There's a few other roots that are real powerful for destroying viruses and building up antibodies. So when you look at Daniel, man, when you look at this, they knew that for the job, because they were going to get put to work. So they knew that they had to look healthy and be healthy.
Yeah.
They had to be able to perform. We've had it backwards that, the more meat that I eat, the stronger I am.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what they told
Right? The bigger I am, because the more, just eat a bunch of protein. Eat a bunch of protein.
Yeah, you need protein.
The meat that you eat is recycled protein. Think about the three strongest animals. Well, think about three animals on this planet. What's the longest living animal on the planet? No, longest living is the tortoise or the turtle. Herbivore. The strongest animal on the planet. Herbivore. Right? You got elephant, herbivore. You got rhinos and things. They're herbivores. Think about it. The silverback gorillas. Right? King Kong and them.
Yeah.
Those are herbivores. They eat bananas, but the key part to what they eat, that banana, is the skin. A lot of people don't realize that there's more nutrition in the skin than the actual fruit. Oranges. You know why the orange skin is so bitter? When you bite into it, that's the orange's self-defense against predators. Well, you're supposed to eat that orange skin.
So, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but
Go ahead.
if I could ask a question, so is it better to juice a banana? When I say juice, because you'll when you blend it, you take it out. But if you juice it, you could just.
Well, when you juice it, all you're doing, you're getting rid of, it's not really good to juice anything when you really look at it, because when you juice, and let me backtrack, you get the lectins from the plant matter, the plant flesh. You get you get like benefits from juicing, but the lectins come from the actual plant flesh, the matter. So the stuff you juice and throw away, you're throwing away all the lectins, all the stuff that's going to build antibodies.
Yeah.
So you're supposed to take that pulp, like what I do with my pulp, I take it and you blend it in a smoothie.
You know what's funny about that? Because I made a juice this morning, right? Mm-hmm. And I was thinking about how back when we were in Trinidad, after we juiced, the stuff that came from the juice, we took it and we would throw it on the land. So they call it fat of the land. So that stuff dissolves in the land and it gives, all the nutrients to the soil and back to the earth and stuff, right?
Right.
So I was like, damn. So if it gives back nutrients, that means that this still has nutrients and stuff in it.
Yeah.
So-
When you make like compost,
Yeah.
when they make like a compost and they put all the byproducts, you can make compost out of vegetables.
Yeah.
Out of discarded banana peels and apple cores, because there's still nutrition in there,
Yeah.
right? There's still nutrition, but when we juice, not saying that juicing is bad, but if you do juice, you may want to incorporate more smoothies to be able to keep the plant fiber. That fiber is what gives you those lectins, which enable you to build those antibodies.
Got you.
Y'all see that? So every part of the vegetables and the fruits are useful. You eat mangoes. You see people peeling mango skin. For what? That's the fiber. You need that. That's the best part of the mango, or the most new. You don't tell me.
I definitely.
What kind of Benjamin are you?
Oh, come on, but nah, I bite into it. You know what I'm saying? I bite it and I spit it out.
Nah.
I peel it.
Yeah, the most nutritious parts of these plants that we've been taught to disregard is sometimes the skin.
Yeah.
Orange skin is, listen, when you boil that in tea and you inhale, it builds antibodies. You need it because you're always inhaling filth, dirt, germs.
Okay.
So orange peel, banana peel is good because that goes into, that goes into like cellular, dealing with like your cellular health.
Okay.
And that builds back the cells on a cellular level. The mango, what else? There's a few things that they told you not to eat.
Can I?
The what? The rind on the watermelon. Bro, you can eat the whole watermelon skin. You can blend that up into, because what I do, I'll juice a watermelon, I'll get that rind and I'll blend it up. It's good for you. It's good for the libido, but it all lectins. Remember, that's a nightshade, and I know potatoes are a starch, but it's considered a nightshade vegetable. Why? Grows under the earth.
You know,
Right. So we're not debating whether tomato, potato. We're just trying to show that there's health benefits in these certain type of foods.
Okay.
Right?
What I was gonna say was, you know, it's crazy. The scripture says that the tender mercies of the wicked are still cruel, right?
Right.
So it's funny, man. Esau, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, eat your fruits, eat your vegetables," and you're like, "Oh yeah, look, they telling us to eat our fruits and vegetables," but we've been taught, we've been trained to discard the parts,
the most
same
important part.
fruits, those same vegetables that you need.
Yeah, like who eats when y'all eat an apple? Most people eat the apple, and you always see like in the cartoons, there's a top of the apple, the core, and boom, you can eat the whole core and everything. You can eat the seeds and all that.
See, I never knew that.
Yeah, you can just eat it, chew it up. It's just crunchy. You can eat the seeds. You can do all that. It's beneficial.
Now they teach you people eating watermelon.
Yeah.
You can find watermelon. People spit it out. Actually breaks down kidney stones.
See?
The seeds break down kidney stones.
Pumpkin seeds is good. Watermelon seeds. Like sometimes the nutrition is in the seeds more than the flesh. The flesh is for the taste, but the benefits of that fruit lies in the skin and lies in the seed, and that's what we spit out. You spit out the seed, right? The orange seed you spit out. The apple seed you spit out because it got a little bit of trace of cyanide. The skin neutralizes the cyanide. The Most High knows how to balance things out.
Wow.
Right? So go back to Daniel.
Yeah, I love it.
So we understand that. Read verse 17.
Daniel chapter 1, verse 17.
Right?
As for these 4 children, the Most High gave them knowledge and skill.
Right?
And wisdom.
Right. Not in just a few. They knew everything. They knew biology, microchemistry. They knew all these fancy things that it's like, oh, I gotta get a degree and a master's and a bachelor. They understood these things. How would Daniel as a child know? Let me back up off the meat and the drink. And I'm gonna eat vegetables. Was it just faith? No, they had the knowledge. He had the knowledge of the ancients. He had the knowledge of the ancestors. We didn't eat meat the way we eat meat now. We didn't just every meal. Think about it. You wake up. You were taught, wake up, breakfast, eggs, bacon, sausage, right?
Yep.
Toast. What else? What's the white stuff? pancakes, grits with cheese. So you were told to put baby chickens on top of pork, on top of beef sauce, like, and then wash it down with a glass of milk, and then that's how you were supposed to start your day, which is counterproductive. Because by 12 o'clock, what you need to get? A Red Bull, a whole new, a nap, right? You got to get a whole new life before 12 o'clock because your body is worn down from trying to break down day after day. Meat. So that's breakfast. We even talk about lunch. You go get your bologna sandwich. You go get Turkey Hero, right? Or Chick-fil-A is a thing every day. Yeah. Burger King, like you go. So more meat with bread. Your body got to burn that down. Then you go to bed on what? 4 or 5 steaks, right? With all the steak sauce, couple of beers, right? And you wonder why your sleep is garbage. Yeah. You wonder why you wake up with the sweats. You wonder why acne. You wonder why the next morning, even if you slept for 15 hours, the next morning you can't move. The next morning you're like, oh my God, man, I feel like I didn't get no rest. You didn't, because your body was constantly all night. I look at it as a wheel that's churning inside your stomach, and you put more meat, more sugar, more starch like that, the wheel just slows down, but it works. It's grinding to churn that food out.
God, it's trying to break it down.
Break it down. Yeah, if you ever see your stomach, the way your stomach works, it does this. Right? It does this. And it'll sit there and do this for hours. I seen them put a camera in someone's stomach that ate a pack of ramen noodles. And their stomach was just doing this, trying to break down the ramen. It didn't go nowhere. Their stomach was just trying to break down the ramen, and the ramen was just sitting there for hours. Their stomach acids have to take care of it, but you overwork your system. Yeah. Right? And then what happens? That meat, all that accumulation of years of meat and bad eating and not building up the right antibodies, you get sick. You get colon, like a lot of our people not just got cancer, but they have colon cancer. Because a lot of that poo from all that meat breaking down, it sits in the colon. It sits in the digestive tract. You get ulcers in your stomach. Yep. You get cancers of the intestines. You wonder, like throat cancers. Like you don't even smoke, but you got throat cancers. It's what you shoving down there. It's the filth that you put in your throat, and then some of that stuff sits, man. Yeah. You ever eat a bunch of meat, and then 4 hours later burp and like a chunk come up? You're like, whoa. That's when you off yourself, and you burp and like you like burped up a chunk of meat. You're like, ooh. That tastes the garlic.
That's when you ate too fast and your stomach didn't send that signal saying that I'm full.
That I'm full, right. So let's go to Ecclesiasticus 31:12. Now let's go to Ecclesiasticus 31 verse 12.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 31 verse 12.
Again, I'm not saying not to eat meat, but we got to be more conscious. We have to be more aware of what's going to allow us to function. Right? What's going to allow us to be able to do the work of the Most High long term? What's going to allow you young sisters to stay young and not act like you're 50 at 30? You got sisters, man, that are not even 35 years old and their legs is cramping up, or not cramping, going numb, can't feel their legs, can't feel their feet after a day of work, 2 days of work, a week of work. Why? There's something that's in your body that's drying you out. All that coffee drinking, right? You're not putting the right things in your body to build it. Yeah. Remember, the scriptures say bodily exercise profited little. So do I got to go pump a bunch of iron to get fit? It's really what I'm eating. It's really what I put in my body to build. You could be a strong body. You can have a strong body and not lift weights. Right. And not have to go sit in the gym 8 hours a day, 4 or 5 days a week.
You know,
it's how you eat.
I was thinking on that. Because just exactly what you said, I was thinking about this the other night. Mm-hmm. Because my newborns, they have not lifted or have no strength to lift anything, but their grip is powerful. I'm like, where do they get this strength from?
It's what you put in their body. It's what you put in their body. What's up?
It's funny you said the thing about the ramen noodles.
Yeah.
My little brother went to jail like a few years ago. He did like a year in jail. When he got out, he was all big and swole, and he went to the doctor. The doctor said he had high blood pressure, high cholesterol. Like basically, his body was a piece of crap.
Right.
And it was like, if you look at him on the outside, you just see this dude, and I I've been doing a lot of push-ups. I'm big, and he was like super unhealthy.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the problem that's plaguing a lot. I want y'all to think about this. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mr. Body, right? 3-4 years in a row, right? The Terminator. He had like 3 triple bypass heart surgeries. Think about that. Mr. America, Mr. Olympia.
And I was supposed to be Mr. Body. Yeah.
Had bypass surgery on his heart. Triple bypass, where they had to, you know what triple bypass is? When they put you on a machine, they take your heart out your chest, put you on a machine to bypass the circulation of blood so you don't die. His heart is out his chest because his ventricles stopped, but they got a machine pumping your blood while they figure out your heart. Think about that. This dude was the fittest man in the world at one time. Like, everybody wanted to be him. Arnold? Where's he from? Croatia or wherever?
I'm not sure.
He's from one of them Russian countries.
Austria.
Yeah, this Austrian 19-year-old looking like a superhero. But later on down the life, he got to get triple bypass. Why? Because he wasn't putting things in his inside the body. Pumping iron makes you look a certain way.
Yeah.
But it don't mean that you're healthy.
Right.
That don't mean that you're healthy. Because you can run 7-8 miles don't mean that you're healthy. It's what you eat. Like I don't know if it's a joke or not. I was hearing something about LeBron, like he eats like trash. LeBron James, they said that he eats like trash, but then I heard that he doesn't. So I don't know if it was a joke, but somebody was saying, like, one of his teammates was like, bro, he eats garbage. Burgers, he always Taco Tuesday in it. I seen videos of him smashing Wendy's, burgers. I've seen it, right?
Yeah.
But he can run up and down and do all that, but guess what? After a while, it looks good now because he's still playing and running and gunning and working out. As soon as he retires, he'll be one of the first cats. Oh, LeBron James, heart attack. How do you get a heart attack? He was in shape, right? It's what you put in your body. It's not necessarily always how much weight you can lift. That's good too to keep you sound and strong or stronger. But I know people that ain't lift weights ever that look like they're more swollen than Shamayar. Older dude. I know a dude that's almost 80 years old and got a body like yours, like muscle. And you ask him what you do. He's like, I'm a country boy. That's what he'll tell you. He's from the country.
Yeah.
So that it just donates a whole different type of living. He don't drink no liquor. He can't. He got a pacemaker. He had a pacemaker since he was in his 30s. Dude's 80-something years old. Well, he could walk around, bend his knee. His knee, he ain't got no arthritis. He got a full head of hair, beard, nappy as hell, dark. You know,
Yeah.
he just move around like a young dude. You would think that he was probably 50. It's what he eats. You know, he eats more vegetables than meat. Read that.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 31, verse 12. If thou sit at a bountiful table,
Go ahead.
be not greedy upon it.
Right, so there's bountiful tables. There's always going to be situations of bountiful tables. Daniel sat at a bountiful table for 3-4 years. But he wasn't greedy upon it. Go ahead.
And say not, there is much meat on it.
Say much what?
Much meat on it.
Why did it pinpoint the meat? How come it didn't say not there's much vegetables? Say not there's much, because there was something about an excess of meat. Go ahead. What you got?
The one you about to say, excess of meat.
I'm gonna go there. Oh, you ready? You got the gun cocked. Go ahead, read on. I'm about to go there. Go ahead, read on.
Oh, that was it.
No, read verse 13.
13. Remember that a wicked eye is an evil thing.
Go ahead.
And what is created more wicked than an eye?
Right, because our problem is we just want what we see. Right? Like, remember the saying, your eyes is bigger than your eyes? But a lot of times, man, our eyes get big. And then it don't match up to the stomach. You gotta now you end up just giving things to yourself that are unnecessary. You got brothers that'll sit down and eat 4 steaks. I've seen it. I've heard it. You got brothers that'll eat 4 or 5 steaks in one sitting.
Yeah.
And then that same brother can't perform the next day. He's tired, lethargic in the mind, he moving around. What's up? You get some rest? Come on. But did you really get rest?
Nah.
No, your body didn't get a chance to pause. That's why juicing is good. That's why smoothies are good, because it gives your digestive system a chance to just pause for a second. Go ahead, read on.
Therefore, it weepeth upon every occasion.
Go ahead.
Stress
Wait,
not.
how does that work? You driving by Chick-fil-A. Damn, I want some chicken. Oh, Little Caesar. Damn, I want some. Oh man, I wish I. Oh, Cinnabon. Oh my God. And then we're so programmed to everything we smell, we gotta have it.
Yep.
Right? Everything we smell, and they do it so beautifully.
Oh, bro.
At Wendy's,
Yeah,
right?
your email.
Bro.
I mean, T-Mobile Tuesday, you want a free burger? Oh, you gotta subscribe to the to Burger King, and then they send you burger emails.
They send you burger, all day.
Yeah.
All 2-for-1s, all that.
Hey, red and yellow makes you hungry too. Huh?
Red and yellow,
Red
the
and
colors.
Yellow, the colors. It's a color
Oh, that's McDonald's things, right? McDonald's color is red and yellow. Wendy's, yeah, because they grab the attention.
Yeah,
But we've been but we've been programmed that McDonald's red and yellow, so that symbolizes hunger. So yeah, In-N-Out burger, right? I could really drive by In-N-Out without having to stop. When that smell, when that aroma slides through the car, it compels you.
Dang.
You're compelled. You're constrained.
Spirits.
Demons, right? Read on,
Verse 14.
right?
Stretch not thine hand whithersoever it looketh.
Yeah, he said, don't stretch your hand at everything that you see. It's not always beneficial. We got to start thinking.
Yes, sir.
You don't always need the cup of coffee. You don't need 4 cups of coffee a day. And then you pile it down with a bunch of sugar. Starbucks is the devil, man. They turned something that was a natural, coffee is good. Caffeine is not a bad thing for your body. But obviously in excess, now you get addicted to caffeine. That's one of the biggest addictions in America.
Oh,
or
yeah.
in the world is caffeine.
It's like the same way that they did with the coca leaf.
Right, what is that's the cocaine, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're selling coffee on the damn sidewalks and in the malls. They ain't selling crack
No,
in
but
the mall, but you know what I mean.
But they were calling, like, when I used to work at Starbucks back in the Gap, they were calling the espresso shots liquid crack.
Liquid crack. Right, I got what you're saying.
Yeah,
Right, because people weren't used to that level of caffeine.
exactly.
So there's nothing wrong with coffee. There's nothing wrong with you gotta look at white people. When white people drink, right? When white people drink, they're like, hey, you want a drink? They'll get them a cup like that big and they'll fill it to about right there. That's a drink to white people. That's a drink. And they'll put 2 ice cubes to dilute it. Why? Because they're still trying to maintain a standard. They still want to be able to function that day. A drink to black people is, where's the bottle at? I'm going to take the bottle and do a waterfall into my mouth. Right? Or you ever see, you got to watch movies, man. They're like, you want a coffee? How about, and they're like, yeah. And they give you a cup that big, a little cup of espresso. And they're just like this. Because they understand I don't need to fill myself up with 8 cups of coffee all day. Now I'm just pooling myself all day because it's diuretic. Right? And then once all the diarrhea symptoms are gone, I'm just constantly drying my body out. That's why your hair don't grow. That's why your knees hurt. That's why your legs hurt. That's why you have lack of blood flow. That caffeine be constricting the vessels. For every ounce of coffee you drink, you let out about 8 ounces of liquid. Your body somehow, through urination, through sweat, you let out about 8 ounces of liquid for 1 ounce of caffeine. Look it up. As soon as you drink caffeine, you're in that bathroom.
Yep.
And you're dehydrating yourself. So we got to understand that nothing wrong with drinking coffee, but to what extent do I give myself to coffee?
Yeah.
Right? Stretch it. Read verse 14 again.
Stretch not thine hand whithersoever it looketh,
Right?
and thrust it not with him into the dish. Judge of thy neighbor by thyself.
Right. And stretch it not and thrust it not with him into the dish. Go to verse 19. Check this out.
Verse 19. A very little is sufficient for a man well nurtured.
Right? A very little is sufficient for a man well nurtured. So what is that saying? A man that's well nurtured ain't well nurtured for a week. You got brothers that, oh yeah, I've been healthy for a week. I've been drinking, I've been juicing for a week. I'm good now. No, well nurtured that's a habit. Being well nurtured is a lifestyle. So now, as I go through this lifestyle of eating, I don't need to eat a bunch of meat to feel satisfied. I don't need a bunch of coffee to wake me up. Because why? The things that I put in my body naturally, those are sustaining my everyday endeavors.
Yeah.
I'm getting enough sleep because my body ain't trying to overwork during the night to break down all the meat. So I'm sleeping. So in turn, when I do wake up, I feel refreshed. So I don't need the coffee. I might could eat an apple instead of the coffee because one apple is equivalent to 1 cup of coffee when it comes to the caffeine level. People don't know that. There's alternatives to everything.
Yeah.
But why do they shove coffee in your face? Well, it's a moneymaker, and you know it's going to get you off your damn rocker. All you got to do, look up the effects of coffee on the brain.
Yeah.
You actually get more irrational thinking. You constrict the blood flow to the brain with coffee. You start getting jittery. You got brothers, they'll drink a cup, they start moving funny. It's like, whoa, why your thinking is off. Yeah, that caffeine restricts oxygen, which restricts the blood flow. So now you're not thinking on a clear-headed level. Again, ain't nothing wrong with a cup of coffee. I need a cup, man. I haven't had a cup of coffee in a while. Right? I feel good not having one, though. I don't need one. I mean, we ain't doing nothing. Right? Read on.
And he fetcheth not his wind short upon his bed.
He fetcheth not his wind. How many of y'all woke up in the middle of the night? A lot of cats got sleep apnea. You trying to fetch your wind. Why? Because all that bad eating, now you about to die in your sleep.
Done. Peacefully.
Now you about to, no, it's not peaceful. That's the thing.
Not peaceful.
It's not peaceful when you wake up because you stop breathing for 30, 40 seconds.
God.
And then your body wakes you up, like, wake up. Because ain't no breath getting into your lungs. All that snoring, think about it. You don't snore because you're really tired. Only, it's your diet.
God.
The diet that you have. Like, if you drink a lot of liquor and go to bed, right? You'll snore a little bit more than you need to because, that's what those bad foods do to you.
And I looked it up because I had a problem with snoring.
Right. It's drinking.
It's dehydration.
Dehydration.
Most common cause of snoring is dehydration.
Yeah, you're trying to bring that wind through your nut, right? It's dry up in there. Why? But what dehydrates you? Alcohol, coffee,
Yep.
right? You got to get water in your system. You had something?
I was like really unhealthy, and he would have sleep apnea.
Yeah.
And how he passed away actually was like he passed out, and the weight of him, he would never sleep on his back.
Right.
And he passed out and went on his back, and then the pressure of his weight
Collapsing his heart. Yeah. But see, you got all that meat around your heart. But these issues come up later on in life because your body is trying to tell you, hey, you've been destroying me for so long. I need you now to fix it.
Yeah.
You've been destroying me for so long. I'm trying to. When we get diseases and sicknesses, obviously it's your body telling you something that either you're giving too much or too little. So we got to get better at giving the right thing. Read on.
Verse 20.
Right?
Sound sleep cometh of moderate eating.
Yes, sound sleep comes from moderate eating. So if I'm eating moderately throughout my day, not just right before bed, but throughout the day, then I get my sleep, then I wake up, then I have more energy, right? Then I'm eating just to sustain my energy, go to sleep. You develop this cycle. You develop this cycle where now I don't have to depend on the energy drink. I don't have to depend on the Red Bull, the coffee. Like you got the t-shirts, coffee then work, coffee please then work. Like they got all these t-shirt memes of coffee. Basically saying, before I even open my mouth, the cup. Right? Go ahead.
He riseth early, and his wits are with him.
Go ahead. His
But
what?
His wits are with him.
What was up with Daniel and them? Read it again.
His wits are with
They had their wits about them. Their mental stability was there. Come on, y'all know y'all don't get no sleep. Like, man, I slept bad last night, and you just feel off.
Done.
All the way.
All the way, bro. You just groggy, you tired, you're irritable, you're mean, you're bitchy, right? Why? Because your wits ain't with you. You're supposed to be gathering your wits with good sleep. Go ahead.
But the pain of watching and color.
But the pain of what?
Watching and color.
Yeah, the pain of watching and choler. Choler is when that's something that your body, it comes from the pancreas, right? When you eat meat, your body secretes from the pancreas, the gallbladder, to break down the meat.
And pangs of the belly.
But when you eat too much meat, your body has to overproduce. It's like diabetics. Their problem is what is it?
It's a lack of insulin. Their
Right.
insulin
Their
is
insulin levels, because they were overproducing so much, now they can't
their
regulate.
Their insulin receptors are done.
Right, because of the fact that they ate too much sugars, And then the pancreas is supposed to regulate how much insulin shoots out and all that good stuff.
And that's actually why a lot of people are overweight. It's because their insulin. That's why Esau had it where you eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Your insulin never stops working. But whenever you eat, your insulin starts up. And then it pulls the energy from the food, and that's how you get energy to move around. But for a lot of us that's eating too much, the insulin receptors, they're not as strong anymore.
Because you're always secreting.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're always secreting fluid.
Yeah.
So really diabetes. I mean, we look at diabetes, it's really just a pancreas deficiency.
Yep.
It's a pancreas deficiency that leads to kidney failure, blindness, and all these other diseases. So if you correct the pancreas and what it's supposed to do its function, then you will correct the other things that go along with that deficiency.
Got it.
Makes sense.
But your body secretes certain juices and things to break down your food. But if I eat a ton of meat and my body is not equipped to break down that food, it's just going to overwork.
Yep.
Overwork. You're going to be in the bed sweating, whole sheets just sweaty. Remember one thing about your diet. Your body has a natural odor. Everyone's body has a different odor. He smells different from me. He smells different from me. When you go in people's houses, they smell different.
Okay.
It's their odor, right? Now, some people's body chemistries are a little off because of what they put in their body.
Oh,
you could smell a cat and be like, oh, he eats too much meat.
Yeah.
Or, oh, he drinks too much. Or, oh, they eat too much of this food or that food. You can smell it. They always used to clown like Indian people, you smell like curry, right? Yeah, well, you know what? Curry is a big staple in their diet. That's one of the main things they eat. They eat a lot of curry, a lot of turmeric.
Yeah.
They eat a lot of, they smell spicy. They eat a gang of ginger.
Yeah.
But guess what? They were some of the most healthiest people on this planet. They are some of the most healthiest people on this planet.
So they take the L for the smell for the health.
Huh?
They take the L for the smell for the
Bruh,
health.
yeah. If I smell like ginger, I do it. Smell like turmeric, I do it. Because I know I'm going to live longer.
Con.
Right? There's health benefits. Go ahead, finish it up.
And pangs of the belly are with an insatiable man.
Right, unsatiable, a man that can't be satisfied. Oh, let me get one more piece. Man, I know I'm full to the brim and my gut is about to explode, but I'm gonna just keep stuffing down the meat. I gotta get this last piece of steak in me. I gotta get the little sauce I gotta dip it and sauce it up. A man that's unsatiable, a woman that's unsatiable, can't be satisfied. Go ahead.
Verse 21.
Right?
And if thou hast been forced to eat.
Right, that's it on that. So, what I want to talk about is your meat and how it's processed. Who knows how the meat's processed? Who knows the time frame from slaughter to store? What you got?
Well, in my hometown, they do the slaughter, so when the cow comes fresh, it's a 30-minute breakdown of them breaking down that cow. And then they start pulling it into different sections and then bust it down even more. And from there, it could take a day or two for it to go to the store. And then my town has contracts with like Japan and stuff, so the process of getting it over there and then them getting it to the store and everything could take up to a month.
You're right, but I'm going to show you something. That month process, that happens here in America.
Oh, also, it smells really horrible in my hometown, and we all were raised to think that it was like when you kill the cow, they excrete themselves.
No.
It's actually the chemicals they're pumping into the meat.
Yeah, I used to work next to a slaughterhouse in Greeley, Colorado. It smells so bad. It's one of the worst smelling things you will ever smell in life.
Now, I worked offshore in a little, fish processing boat.
Yeah.
They're going out there for months.
Yeah.
So that fish is just sitting there. By the time you get the fish in the supermarket, that fish is months, like probably 6 months old.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Check this out. We got to think about death, and I'm gonna just read this for y'all, or I have one of these brothers read it. Read. Oh, you got it. So read that for me. And this is from the slaughter to the store, and you have different processes for different animals. Cows are different from pigs. Pigs are different from chicken. But we got to understand. Wait a minute. So when I buy an animal, you mean to tell me it's been sitting there for a little bit?
Yeah.
I mean, we probably think like, oh man, this was killed a week ago.
Oh, it looked fresh.
Oh, it looked fresh. They probably killed this yesterday. Look how pink that looks. Psych. Watch this. Read.
Yes. So it says, when an animal dies in the slaughterhouse,
right,
their nervous system fails to deliver stimuli for muscle contraction.
Right.
blood flow and oxygen delivery, and pathways for nutritious substances to tissues and organs are interrupted.
Right. So when an animal dies, no oxygen gets to the flesh, nothing gets to the heart, everything is cut off. Right? Go ahead.
After a period of time, which varies depending on the species and size of the animal, between 6 and 12 hours for cows, 1 to 6 hours for pigs, and even less time for smaller animals, the state of muscle flaccidity is gradually replaced by a progressive contraction of all muscles.
Right, so flaccidity is, I'm flaccid right now, right? Loose. But rigor mortis, you heard that term, rigor mortis?
Yep.
Rigor mortis steps in that stiffness of the muscles, right? Now, we always get our steak, when we get our meat, it's flexible. You're like, oh, it's a nice tender piece.
Yeah.
It's real flexible. When rigor mortis sets in, they can't cut that meat. They gotta wait. It tells you at least 6 to 12 hours just for a cow. So we know 6 to 12 hours before they even process that meat. The rigor mortis gotta set in. Right? Go ahead.
That, when it reaches its maximum expression, is known as rigor mortis.
Right, that's the maximum tightness.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
At this moment, the toughness of the meat is high because the fibers of the muscles are fully contracted.
Go ahead, number 2.
Number 2. When pH values inside the muscle fibers of a dead animal drop below 5.8, a steady increase of protein degradation begins. This is when the softening of muscles takes place and transforms the carcass into the meat we are familiar with.
Go ahead.
This softening accelerates when the animal is hung upside down.
So when you go into a slaughterhouse and you see a cow being hung by his leg or by his Achilles, or a pig being hung upside down, they're trying to speed up the softening process. Now, think about this. Think about it. The softening process is the meat breaking down. It's the meat. Bacteria is accumulating on the top of the meat, and it's breaking the meat down so it can be tender. Think about that. So you eating, like you heard of like aged beef? Yeah. Aged beef, that's longer than your regular supermarket. Now, I want y'all to think about it. When you read through the scriptures, it said, when Abraham told Sarah to go prepare a lamb, go prepare a kid, right? And some cakes for the 3 angels.
Yeah.
Did it say, and 3 days later, they feasted?
No,
they ate right then and there. Slaughter, dress it, roast. Right? Why? To prevent what? Hold on. To prevent what? To prevent sickness. To prevent bacteria. But Esau's like, no, we want to feed y'all's bacteria. We want to watch. As we read down, y'all gonna be like, damn, this what I'm eating? What's up?
They say that when the animals are killed under pressure, that they release a toxin that's deadly to us.
Well, they release adrenaline. You can taste it. But that's why, when you have like kosher kills or halal kills, it's the way the animal is killed. It's supposed to be humane. You're not supposed to be chasing an animal through the field, grabbing it, killing it. You get all that adrenaline. You get all those toxins that are coursing through that blood. Like when we got the lamb the other day, bro, he was kind of kicking a little bit, right? And they just kind of pulled him out. And then before we killed him, we just let him chill for a second. Laid him down, and he just laid there.
Yeah. To
kind of just calm down, because you don't want all that toughness in the meat. That's where all that toughness comes from. All that adrenaline, you don't want that in there. You can taste that. That's where the demons come from. Mad cow that's not where it comes from. But you can taste it, right? So read verse 3. Number 3.
Number 3. The progressive process of flesh softening is called maturation.
Maturation, right? Maturation. Go ahead.
During the ripening process.
So the meat gets ripe. So we know that when a fruit gets ripe, it's ready to eat. And then it can get overripe and you start to smell it. You're like, whoa, okay. It's ripe.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
During the ripening process, the growth of fungi in the meat surface.
The fungi where?
The growth of fungi in the meat surface.
Go ahead.
Mostly of the genus
Thymatium.
Thymatium secrete enzymes and substances that increase the preferred taste by consumers.
See, they're saying that this is how you get the good taste, by eating bacteria.
Damn,
Oh,
man.
so like that meat taste is
It's
the
bacteria.
bacteria.
It's death. That meat taste is you're tasting death.
Oh,
That's why they like it bloody. Because they eat it bloody.
But that's why some like it bloody, because they get to keep that filthy taste. But when you start charring things down, and you get that burnt flavor, or you season it up. But yeah, some people like it bloody, like that bloody meat taste.
But when you go to these steakhouses, like I went to Killing Steakhouse, they have a whole cellar where Esau will charge you higher prices
For the aged meat.
the age for such a amount of years. They like aged
Because,
for years.
but that's my point. Because it's more tender. That's when you get your.
aged a year.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Look into aged beef. They're not talking about. They're talking about aging stuff for 6 months. You can age meat. I seen them age a pork shoulder with salt.
That's crazy.
They took a pork shoulder and they just put it in a salt, like just sea salt, and just left it there for months. And he was like, yeah, he dipped it in there. He hung it on the wall. So when you go in there, he's like, oh yeah, this one's been aging for 4 years. And this is raw pork. He just, oh, that's beautiful. Bro, you gotta watch these travel channels and these food networks. They'll show you. They believe in aged wines, right? Aged meats. But it says it's built on fungus. You building up bacteria and fungus. Now y'all see why it's important to have those lectins, those antibodies to be able to deflect the meat fungi that you can't just cook off. Yeah. Check it out. Read on. Let's finish it up.
These molds have to be removed with the knife before the meat is marketed.
So what if this dude don't cut off all the mold? Mold is microscopic, some of it.
That's true.
You got microscopic and molds. Like, what is he walking around with a microscope shaving it?
So like he's cutting
what he can see.
He can cut a thicker slice and make sure there's no mold, but they're trying to get more money for the weight, so they'll cut a thinner slice.
Right. So you eating mold, man. Think about it. You're letting your meat mold before they sell it to you. Go ahead.
Wow. This standard process depends on the type of animal.
Right.
Minimum for chicken 2 days.
Right.
Intermediate for pigs 3 to 6 days.
Right. So this is just the letting it sit for 2 days. They're not even talking about cutting it up yet. Go ahead.
And maximum for cows 2 to 5 weeks.
How many?
2 to 5 weeks.
How many?
2 to 5.
So a cow can sit for 2 to 5 weeks, depending on the size, before it even gets divided into what type of cuts.
Damn.
Go ahead, read on.
Depending on the age of the animal.
Now check this out. Number 4.
Number 4. There goes Whataburger. The period of maturation of beef is between 10 and 30 days.
Right.
Dismembered animals remain in cold storage.
Right.
The
decomposition
process needed to commercialize the meat is increased progressively. The second day of the animal's death, up to 30 days.
Now think about it. When you eat, like when you get like a fresh lamb and you kill him and knock him down the same day, what do they say? Oh, he tastes gamey.
Yeah.
They're trying to avoid that gamey flavor because the gaminess comes from what the animal eats. Right? You can taste the berries. Like, hey, right? You can taste them. You're like, that. He just tastes. When they say gamey, it's wild. Right? You go get you some wild venison, wild deer, and you shoot him and eat him right there. Roast him up. You be like, dang, he's gamey. You can taste the berries in his flesh. You can taste what he ate. Esau's like, no, we don't want to taste the gaminess. We wanted to taste meat.
Death.
We want the death flavor. So we're going to make sure that the meat builds up fungi. We're going to make sure that we're going to call it the maturation process. Show me in the scriptures. Show me that ever in the scriptures where we just let the meat just age. When you read about Solomon, right? And I should have threw it in here, but when it talks about Solomon being a king and his bounty for the day, he was slaughtering about 200 animals per day. Now, Solomon didn't have no leftovers. There wasn't no leftovers because his bounty was for his house. Think about all the servants he had to feed, all the guests that came through. His house, his servants, he had to feed his house. He was killing about 200, I think it was about 220 animals total daily. Y'all got to think about that. Every day it was fresh, a fresh meat. From the slaughter to the fire to the table. Daily. It wasn't like, oh, we're gonna kill this today and then 30 days later we're gonna eat this one. and we're going to get this stuff from 30 days ago. It didn't work like that. We slaughtered it, we sacrificed it, and boom, we ate it. So what does that say about what we're eating today? Then you wonder why there is so much sickness with the meat, and why there is so much unhealthiness when you go eat these burger chains. Because burgers ain't really unhealthy. It's the combination of all the filth. Yeah. Burgers are healthy. It's meat, it's vegetables, and it's bread. It's not an unhealthy combination. But the way they do your produce and your meat makes it unhealthy. Go ahead, read it on.
Gun. The fibers of dead flesh are one of the strongest materials in nature and can only be denatured by heat or bacterial putrefaction. Bacterial, I want you to keep that in mind. Putrefaction. Right? That word putrefaction, bacterial putrefaction. Read number 5. Number 5. Over time, the volatile substances tend to dissipate in the atmosphere of the cold storage, and the amino acids continue their degradation process. From the 20th day after the death of the animal, the flavor of the meat decreases progressively. From 30 days post-mortem, meat begins to release a large amount of iron.
That's why they tell you, you want iron, go eat meat. Mm-hmm. But really, if you want iron, you'll find the largest deposits of iron in plants. That's where cows get their iron. Yep. So you got to make meat sit for 30 days for it to rot, for the metals to start to come out of it. Because that's what's really happening.
Yeah.
The flesh is rotting away, the bacteria is eating down the meat, and it's producing iron and all these other, magnesium and all these other things that, yes, we do need them. Mm-hmm. But it's recycled iron. Your best source of iron, your best source of protein, your best source of fiber is always going to be plant. Go ahead.
Iron is responsible for the growing metallic taste of the most degraded meat.
Right. You ever get that meat that tastes kind of metally? That tells you how long that meat been sitting. Now, look up the word cadaverine. Cadaverine. Cada. You ever heard the term cadaver? What does that always refer to?
Dead body.
A dead body, right? You hear that term in the medical field. You hear that term when they do an autopsy is a cadaver. Cadaverine. What you got?
Cadaverine.
Right.
A circular poisonous name.
Uh-huh.
It says C5H.
Okay, read this definition. Right.
Foul-smelling
diamine
compound produced by the purification of an animal tissue.
So, cadaverine comes from the degrading of animal tissue. Foul-smelling, right? Foul-smelling substance that is created when an animal is being broken down. Now, I want you to look up the word putrescine, and hopefully you're grabbing them and throwing them up there for them so they can see them. Okay, good. Look up the word, and he'll read the definition that I have. It just makes it easier. Putrescine. They'll put it up there on the screen as we talk about it. Putrescine. You want me to spell it? Putrescine. Excuse me. SCINE. Putrescine. Right? So read putrescine.
Putrescine.
Right?
Is a foul-smelling organic chemical compound.
So first of all, it smells foul. Can't get around putrescine and cadaverine. They stink.
Yep.
Go ahead.
That is related to cadaverine.
Go ahead.
Both are produced by the breakdown of amino acids in living and dead organisms.
So these things can be in dead people and in people that are alive. If your amino acids are being broken down, you'll have this foul smell, right? But we know that mainly in dead bodies. Go ahead.
And both are toxic.
You want cadaverine, not cadaver.
Oh, cadaver.
Yeah, cadaverine. Cadaver, and then you add RINE to the end of that. That way, because that's the chemical that's produced from the cadaver. Right? So just look up cadaverine, but go ahead.
And both are toxic in large doses.
Right. So go ahead.
The two compounds are largely responsible for the foul odor of putrefying
flesh. Pause right there. So when we go back to Ecclesiasticus, the 31st verse in the 19th and 20, sound sleep cometh from moderate eating. He riseth early, and his wits are with him. The pain of watching and choler and pangs of the belly. When you overeat this meat, and all those pains of the belly is because all this cadaverine and putrescine is building up inside you that is toxic in high levels. You got some people that eat meat all the time, right? Mm-hmm. So you get all the choler, you get all that stuff. But what else do you get? And this right here, for some of you women, you got to cut down on the meat. I'm going to show y'all why. And brothers too, got to cut down on the meat. Watch, read on.
But also contribute to the odor of such processes as bad breath.
So you want to know why you can't get rid of that bad death smell that's in your mouth? It's really the putrescine and the cadaverine are cut. Like they say that bad comes from the stomach.
Okay.
It comes from the gut. Because you got dead flesh sitting in your gut. That smell is trying to come out, and it's going to come through
somewhere.
It's going to come through, first and foremost, it's going to come through your bowel movement, right? It's going to come through your urine. If your pee stinks, you got to check that. And you can smell it. You're like, damn, my pee got an odor.
It's like strong.
Or if you defecate, and you're like, damn, that's like what crawled in me and died? All them burgers, all them steaks, all that meat crawled in you and died. And it's trying to get out because it's now becoming toxic in your body. Yeah. So that bad breath. But I got one for y'all. Read on. What else?
And bacterial vaginosis.
Bacterial vaginosis. So that smell that some women, I'm saying some sisters like I know, but that women have, like, oh, that's just my natural odor. No, naturally, there's not supposed to be no smell there. Mm-hmm. There's not supposed to be a smell there, but all that meat, that cadaverine and that putrescine, it's trying to run away from your body. So what is it going to do? Again, bad breath. If you're a woman that got bad breath, check your meat intake. If you have a smelly odor, go to Isaiah 3 and verse 24. This is how we know that it wasn't a natural thing. That's just my odor. To smell like fish? No. Or to smell musty down there, or smell some type of bacterial type of smell. You could smell like a fungi. Like, yeah, that's fungusy. Right? Ain't supposed to be no smell there. Read that real quick. He said, it's like sourdough bread. It ain't supposed to smell like that. Read.
Isaiah chapter 3 verse 24.
Right?
And it shall come to pass that instead of sweet smell,
read,
there shall be stink.
There should be a stink, because that pride. We know that this goes into that pride. The daughters of Zion are haughty. Oh, nigga, I can eat what I want. I can do what I want. I'm going to eat all the meat. I'm going to eat all the Chick-fil-A. I'm going to sneak behind my husband's back and eat the bad foods at the mall. Smash down some shrimp. Yeah, I'm going to be, my husband's on the health tip, trying to keep the family healthy. But I'm going to sneak and smash down extra meat throughout the day, and he ain't going to never know. All he got to do now is just smell you.
No.
That's all he got to do now is just smell you. Like, oh, you've been eating meat. You've been eating you eating too much meat. And it's not no diss. It is what it is. This is biology. This is what we should be knowing. You should be able to look at your body. You should be able to smell your own odor and say, damn, there's something changing about me. What is it? If an odor is coming from you that you're not used to, you got to be able to say, what am I putting in my body? Mm-hmm. We should all be able to examine ourselves on that level. Yes, sis.
I know that with my niece, let's say she's coming, she's in the shower, or when she comes out of the shower, I make sure that I smell her. And one time she smelled very pungent.
Right.
And I said, you're not drinking enough water, aren't you? You're drinking too much. You're drinking too much dairy, too much milk. Cause she loves milk and hot Cheetos. And I said, no, you're eating too much of that, and I can tell just based off of
her smell.
You gotta. She says, how do you know?
Yeah, the Cheetos got the pork enzymes, so you gotta stop eating those. And then we know the dairy is not what dairy used to be. Milk wasn't a bad thing before Esau grabbed the hold of it and made a milk industry. Yeah. The dairy, he started got milk commercials. Mm-hmm. Milk was good before that. When milk was $1 a gallon, 50 cents a gallon, when they would do the home deliveries, right, the 6-pack, milk was good.
Yeah.
When they turned it into an industry, milk is terrible for you. Real quick, I'm gonna come to you. It says, question: when you're saying meat, is fish included? Yeah. Anything that starts to break down now. Let me say this. And what I'm bringing out, it didn't name fish as one of those meats, but like I watch a lot of like tuna fishing shows, and the brother here been on a boat fishing tuna, right? Were y'all fishing fish?
We were, the season, I think we are. It was, I can't remember the name of the fish, but it was we're right going back to, we got some cod and there were some other things.
Right.
But either way it goes, that fish hits the supermarket.
It's been,
because we're in Alaska for months. We're out in the ocean for months.
yeah. So and I see it. All they do is this. Every boat has a deep freezer at the bottom of the boat, and they pack that deep freezer, and then when that thing is packed, that's when they go home. So they got to catch a certain amount of fish per day. You got to watch these documentaries on these shows, and I watch a lot of that fishing, and I like to know the different industries. So I've seen that. They just pack the bottom of that boat. The fishes get frozen to a brick. You can't cut into that fish. Then they get them 6 months later, untaw them, weigh them, cut them up. This is a tuna fish. This cut, that cut, ahi, blah blah blah. This restaurant, depending on where it's going to, is going to take longer. If it's got to go to restaurants, it's going to take longer. If it's going to go to tuna fish company to can it up, that's going to take longer. So depending on what industry or what type of restaurant or grocery store or what, it's going to have a different time frame.
Because we were on a ship. They told us that the specific catch we had that time, it was going to China once we finally docked.
Right. So let me say this: vaginosis is caused by imbalanced hormones. That's what we're saying. If you didn't understand, let me break it down this way. When you eat meat, you're putting foreign DNA into your body. So you're getting the hormones from that meat that do what? They imbalance your hormones.
Yep.
Plants to the human body are not foreign DNA. Y'all knew that? Did y'all know that? Plants aren't foreign to the human body. But if I put cow DNA in my body, the first thing my body tries to do is sort out what is this that you're putting in the body, right? Then it starts to say, okay, that's food. It'll throw out blood cells to do this. It'll throw out this to do that. But think about the chemicals that are in the meat.
Yeah.
So it's all chemically imbalanced. But hopefully you're paying attention, Jermaine, and seeing that. I'm not saying that meat is bad, but what I'm saying is that the overindulgence of meat causes certain things. Again, I don't think any of y'all knew what cadaverine was or putrephine and what it causes, and not just in women. If you're a man and you have a smelly, if your genitals at the tip, they say in men, you could if there's a little odor there, it's because he might be eating too much meat, right? So your body is going to talk to you depending on what you give it. Like the sister said, you eating too much milk and Cheetos, there's an odor that's going to come off you.
Got it.
If you're eating too much unnatural processed foods, there's going to be an odor that comes up off you. Like they smell like, they always say, like you smell like, you got people that smell like metals. They smell like iron, right? Because they drink it, that's too much meat. Whatever they're doing, their body can't process the iron or whatever it is through. Remember, you got filter systems. When you breathe, you got filtration in your nose, you got filtration in your mouth, you got filtration in your ears, all that little, and then you got filtration around your cells. Yeah. Your skin is is a filtration, right? So once your body can't break down, like your kidneys, right? What happens when your kidneys don't break down everything?
They fail.
Well, if your kidneys can't break things down, then you start going into having to get dialysis, and you start going into sepsis, and your liver. If you got liver cancer, why is your liver so important? It's a filter, just like your kidneys. It's a filter. If I took a beer and injected the beer right into my veins, I'd die. The kidney, or you have people, you watch the show 1,000 Million Ways to Die. The dude took a beer and put it in his anus, and he died because there was no filtration. If you didn't know about the anal cavity, there's all the nerves and blood vessels run there. So what it was there was too much alcohol that got into the system too quick.
Yeah.
The kidney and the liver prevents that from being alcohol poison. So yes, it is all an imbalance. That's what I'm showing you. You could say it's a chemical imbalance, but a chemical imbalance, I'm showing you from what? It ain't just some chemicals that just popped up out of the air.
Right, yeah.
It's what you put in your body that has chemicals in it. It's too much of one thing ain't good for you.
Okay.
You see that? So that bad breath, that vaginosis, that bacterial vaginosis is because we're eating bacteria from the meat already. All that meat, all that bacteria that the meat is carrying from being broken down from anywhere from 2 days to 3 months or 30 days, and you eat that, think about it. Think about it. And then you do it on a 3 to 4 times a day basis, 5, 6, let's say you eat meat 3 times a day, 5 days a week. That's way too much. Your body truthfully, your body can't handle it. You start smelling like cold cuts. You ever smell them people, they smell like damn, they smell like meat and oils? Because their body is giving off that cold cut bologna type smell. And you try to cover it. People that drink too much.
Yeah.
You get next to them, be like, damn, you been drinking? No, I didn't drink today.
Yeah.
When did you drink?
Still smell it.
I drank a week ago, or I drank last night, because it's coming through your pores.
Yeah.
Your body is trying to release toxins.
Mm-hmm.
But you can give your body the right things to bind up a lot of those toxins. Those lectins we talked about, you can take charcoal, that'll bind up, you can take bentonite clay, that'll bind up toxins, and you'll defecate more and pee more of that stuff out. Right?
You know what I'm thinking about? This whole smell and all that we're going on is that bacteria is still there after cooking the meat, saucing the meat.
Yeah.
Like, it don't matter how it smelled when you ate it.
It don't matter.
It's still there, and it goes into your body and comes out.
Yeah, because that meat is constantly, no matter what, no matter how much you refrigerate, all you do when you refrigerate is slow the bacterial growth and the breakdown process. You're just slowing it down, but you're not stopping it. Because think about it. If you leave meat in the fridge, don't it go bad? Yeah, why? Because it's breaking down regardless.
Yeah.
The cold just slows it for you to be able to have the meat longer.
Yeah.
You see that? So we can't be naive, man. We can't be naive to see what the information is saying. The more you give yourself to something, the more it's going to affect your body. And if it's sugar, meat, caffeine, all these things, you can see it in a person. You can smell it. Well, read that Isaiah, finish it.
And it shall come to pass that instead of sweet smell,
right,
there shall be stink.
Read.
And instead of a girdle, a ring.
Come on.
And instead of well set hair,
right,
baldness.
I mean, I could go into the hair weaves. I wasn't gonna do that. I'm gonna hold that. Go ahead.
And instead of a stomacher, a girding of sackcloth.
Right. So it's showing, man, that there was gonna be a stench. There was gonna be that overweightness. Right. That overweight from what? Because I'm not balanced in my eating.
Okay.
I'm not building up my body to be able to fight off. Think about it. If you just eat a bunch of meat and bacteria and meat and cheese, you got some people that love to eat, they sprinkle cheese on everything. It's cheesy. Cheese and milk, right? Mm-hmm. Those are bacteria. Cheese is a bacteria. Mm-hmm. Can't get around that.
Yeah.
You eat too much cheese, it backs you up. It builds up other bacterias in you. Now, if I'm not giving myself the antibodies to fight the bacterias that build up in cheese, how's my body going to fight after a while? But that's why you fall to coronavirus. Oh. That's why you fall to the common cold every other month. That's why you get the flu. That's why you get other diseases, because your immune system ain't been built. It's built off of dairy and meat. We got to get back to vegetables, more veggies, more salads, nuts, grains, right? Like when I went to the store, everybody was panicking. They buying rice. I'm grabbing quinoa and black rice. I'm like, y'all tripping. Y'all buying the white rice? I'm getting quinoa, black rice, lentils, and trying to boost the immune system that way, right? So let's deal with the relationship between plants and humans. Let's deal with plants talking to humans. And what does that mean? What do you mean by that, plants talk to humans? Well, let's deal with it. Now, has anybody ever heard of anything? Has anybody ever heard of a feedback loop? or what a feedback loop is? Right. So a feedback loop is this. I'll give you an example. You get cut, you bleed. In order for the blood to clot, you get cut, you bleed, you try to stop the bleeding, right?
Yeah.
But how does the blood clot?
With air, right?
No. You got to bleed more to create the platelets to stop the bleeding.
Yeah.
You got to, the hemoglobin has to, you got to bleed more to stop bleeding. Put it like that. That's a feedback loop.
Okay.
So you get cut, for the bleeding to stop, you got to bleed more for the platelets to create to stop the bleeding. So your blood can clot. You need more blood so the blood can clot. That's a feedback loop. I got another one for you, and we'll use this one. Animals, right? Let's say you have a field. Let's say you got a field of sick animals, right? And they eat the grass. They eat the grass. They eat the grass. They eat the grass. They poop. And they're pooping out because when you have a disease, when you're sick, the first form of knowing that you're sick, it comes through your pee. It comes through your poop. You pee it out. You poop it out. First, before you even develop any symptoms.
Okay.
So you got sick animals. They're eating grass. They're pooping. They're peeing. They're pooping on grass, right? Can grass go and get shots?
No.
Do they go and get like antivirals?
No.
But the grass still grows. How? Because they start to develop. Because you know, plants can get fungi, right? They can get bacteria, right? They even say that some plants, it might be a stretch. They can get some forms of cancers, right? Now, if that was the case, all the plants would be wiped off the earth because there's all types of fungi and all that type of stuff growing everywhere that's trying to overtake. But plants develop the way to fight off fungi and bacteria, right? Y'all with me? So the feedback loop is sickness drops on the earth. The plants have the way to fight off disease. We eat the plants and get better. Now the loop was created when? In the beginning. The Most High created the plants to do certain things, right? The Most High already created the plants. You see that? And then we get sick, animals get sick. Remember, even when back in the time of Moses, were we pooping in a sewage system and flushing it?
No.
And it was going into the water treatment. He buried that in the earth, right? People were sick, people had disease. Poop has just bacteria in it. How come the trees and the plants didn't just fall off the face of the earth? They developed a way to fight off those bacteria, right? So that's what you would consider or call a feedback loop. So go to Psalms 104. Go to Psalms 104 and verse 14. Somebody else get Romans 14:2. Read that.
Psalms chapter 104, verse 14.
Right?
He causeth the grass to grow for the cattle, and herb for the service of man.
Right, so he said he caused grass to grow for the cattle, and herb for the service of man. Go ahead.
That he may bring forth food out of the earth.
Right, so we know that the herbs, we use them for food, right? We ate them. Romans 14:2.
Romans chapter 14, verse 2.
Read.
For one believeth that he may eat all things.
Yeah, you got a man, I can eat meat, I can eat this, I can eat all the steaks, I can drink all the Four Locos, I can drink this, eat that, blah, 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 right? Go ahead.
Another, who is weak, eateth herbs.
He does what?
Eateth herbs.
He eateth herbs. Go to Ecclesiasticus 38 verse 4.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 38, verse 4.
Yeah, I got it. Go ahead.
The Lord hath created medicines out of the earth.
He did what?
The Lord hath created medicines out of the earth.
You know, the Most High did this from the beginning. He created the medicines out of the earth, right?
Yep.
Now, with all these different diseases that's springing up from all these different animals, you got to ask yourself, how come the trees and the plants that the animals poop on and pee on have not just disintegrated off the earth? Well, because plants develop through their biochemistry, they develop the way to fight off disease.
Okay.
And then when we contract the diseases, if we eat the plant, what happens? We're cured, right? Go ahead.
And he that is wise will not abhor them.
And he that is wise will not what?
Abhor them.
Right, will not abhor them, misuse or hate them. Right, so I got it here. Plants can get bacterium. They can get viruses or they can get funguses. It says they can get funguses just like humans, but plants are able to develop the biochemistry to neutralize infections. That's why you have like oregano. What is oregano oil? It's a plant, right? It's an herb. Oregano is an herb. That we would call it an herb, but oregano is an antiviral. It's an antiviral. It's an antibacterial. It's an antifungal. That's one of the most powerful plants on the earth. People always talking about, oh, I'm trying to get healed. I'm gonna go smoke some weed. How are you talking about smoking oregano?
Right.
It's antiviral, right? So you had people that, like if I would have came down with the Rona on some real level, I'm running for that oregano oil. I'm running for that oregano because it's antiviral.
Yeah,
so,
my grandma, she used to have us she had like a little bitty container of oregano oil.
Yeah.
And she'd say just take a couple drops.
Yeah.
With some water and swish it in your mouth. Or if you're feeling sick,
hit that up. Yeah.
A little, like in the bottle, you put 2 drops.
Yep.
Damn.
Hit that
and drink it.
Yeah. Clove oil. Clove is antiviral, antibacterial. If you got toothaches, everybody runs for the penicillin, right? Well, the penicillin they make for toothaches comes from clove. That's where it comes from. It comes from clove. So why do I got to go to the pharmacy when I can just go to the plant? Now, this is the thing. Do I got to take clove oil when I'm sick? Do I take oregano when I'm sick? No. You incorporate it daily, but we do. Think about when you cook Italian food.
Yeah.
One of their main ingredients is oregano. It baffles me that all them people died over there. One of their main ingredients in Italian food is oregano.
No, but it's like what you were telling me a couple weeks ago.
But they eat a lot of meat and pastas and wines and
it attaches to that.
Yeah, it counterbalance so that way you can eat all the oregano you want, but if you eat all that dead flesh all the time, if you eat all that wine all the time, then it's not gonna be productive for you. Especially if you're not on a regimen. If you just, I'm sick, let me grab the oregano. That's where you messed up at. You're supposed to be on a daily regimen of these. I'm gonna give y'all a few different herbs, and I'm gonna show you why you have even inside of Israel, you have certain tribes of Israel that have a longer lifespan than other tribes, just off the way they cook. What's up?
It's crazy, just dissecting everything that you're saying. Growing up in the Issachar background, you had cocaine for breakfast, Hennessy for brunch.
Right? Oh, you look like gang. That's like Doug's Paradise life.
You know what I'm saying? Oil and everything. And wow.
Right.
For real. And it's crazy. There's no fighting chance for your immune system. There's no fighting chance for your body to even come off of any of this because it's a constant feeding the body the wrong things that not need to be fed.
Right. So you got oregano oil. I'm gonna read this. Oregano is a popular oil in the mint family, known for its impressive medicinal qualities. Let's see here. In test tube studies, both oregano oil is isolated. It reduced the activity of maroon neurovirus within 15 minutes of exposure. So these are all petri dish tests. They'll take a virus, drop the oregano, it'll wipe the virus out. But see, they don't tell you just go get some oregano, because oregano ain't gonna do it. Oregano ain't just gonna cure AIDS, right? What's the next one?
Sage.
You got sage. Now, remember, he said he created medicines out of the earth, and he and his wives were not abhorrent. You got dummies running around smudging. I'm gonna burn sage, and sage stinks. First of all, it smells terrible.
Gives me a headache.
But it wasn't supposed to be used to burn and inhale and do all that. Supposed to use it for its medicinal properties. What's up?
With sage, when I have this infection with the tooth and everything like that, the bacteria infection into my brain, so it caused the neural imbalance. And what sage for me was sage itself. It counteracts with adding with grapefruit and everything like that. Counteracts the chemical imbalance in the brain and everything. And what I would do with the sage, all the way down to the stem, I would dip it. I would put it. Like how people dip tobacco.
Yeah.
Because it goes straight to the bloodstream.
Mm-hmm.
And it facilitated the white blood cells combating the bacteria that was in my blood. So
Yeah.
I would swell up because there was an infection in my body due to that bacteria that was in my face. And so the white blood cells would go and fight that infection or whatever, and then my body would swell up, and then it would freak me out because growing up in the Issachar background to where everybody's getting amputated just because of diabetes and how severe it got, to where after a while, once I realized that I removed that infected tooth, I just started taking the proper steps to getting that healed up. And what was crazy, you know, when you were speaking on like the peels of certain fruits, internally with the cosmetology background that I have, everything you feed in,
it's gonna come out.
Yeah, it's gonna show up the hair, skin, and nails.
It has to come out.
Now, as far as the skin or peels of certain things, I would eat whatever I'm gonna eat, and the fruits that I would have, I would save the peels and I would put them in a tub, boil it up, throw some coconut water, and I would sit, like when I had some open wounds, I would sit in a makeshift
bath,
and then it would just internally, externally, man.
Yeah, like olive oil. You drink olive oil, it starts to work from the inside out. If you drink olive oil, that's one thing you can drink. You can drink it, but then you'll see the results in your skin and in your hair. But then you'll have easier bowel movements. Your intestines start to function a little bit differently.
Nah, my grandmother, you know, in Benjamin, she used to always say olive oil. Like, I used to joke at her because she said everything was wrong. She'd be like,
olive oil and olive oil, cod oil, and what's the one? What's the one that you put in the hair? Man, we drink it in Jamaica, man.
No.
For wash out, what is it?
I definitely don't know.
But you put it in your hair, man. It smells. Castor oil. The castor bean. That's what it is. A bean.
Castor oil for wash out.
You tripping? That's what they used to give me. That thing will get you going. Right? The next one. So I got a few. I'm not going to go through every one of these herbs. But sage, what he was talking about the white blood cells, right? The antiviral properties of sage are mostly attributed to the compounds called sulfinoid and sage 1. It says test 2 research indicates that the herb may fight human immune deficiency virus, which is the HIV virus, right? So what happens when you have HIV? White blood cells ain't fighting off any type of bacteria. So what he was talking about, the white blood cells, it puffs up those antibodies, sends those white blood cells to go do their job. You see that? So sage, you eat it. You eat it, right? Basil, right? Who cooks with basil? Yeah, fresh basil. Smells wonderful, right? It smells wonderful. It's very aromatic. It's very wonderful when you cook. You're like, damn, this is about to taste good.
Put that on your taco.
Right, all that. Let's see here. For example, one test tube study found that sweet basil extracts, let me see here, their potent effects against herpes, hepatitis, and trinovirus. You see that? So these are antivirals. I got basil, fennel seed, right? Another one that is good for against herpes, influenza, right? And they've tested a lot of these things in animals. They've tested a lot of these things just in the lab, right? Garlic, right? Another good one, right? Let's see here. Garlic is good to, it says, let's see, it studied in 23 adults with warts caused by human papillomavirus. Garlic killed those warts. What else? It says it's good against pneumonia, right? Rhinovirus, which is the common cold. They always tell you when you got sick, garlic and onions, right? And if you get on a regimen of garlic and all these different things, you cook with them, you'll see that yourself is healthy. The one thing, I was watching this cooking show, man, and it was this Chinese dude. He was in Jamaica, and he was watching them cook like jerk chicken, jerk pork, Manish water, oxtail, right? He was watching them cook everything. And the one thing I noticed about almost every dish, ginger goes in everything in Jamaica. pimento seed, which is like a mixture of like cinnamon, clove. Pimento is an antiviral, but they threw turmeric. These are antivirals. Now, when you go to India, in India they have a drink that they drink on the daily. It's like their national drink or whatever. Turmeric, ginger, honey, and lemon. That's what they drink on the regular. They just store it in the fridge. So you wonder why they smell like turmeric, or why they smell like curry, or why they smell like a little spicy. Well, because it's seeping through their pores. The good health is seeping. Their foods are always spicy. Oh, another thing, Scotch bonnet pepper, or what you would know as the habanero pepper. Every meal we cook got Scotch bonnet, the whole pepper, right? But pepper, you gotta throw it in there for the heat. But peppers, remember we talked about peppers building up those lectins to build up those antibodies? Cayenne pepper is another antiviral, antifungal.
I use that one.
Right? Cinnamon. Now I'm gonna tell you about cinnamon. Cinnamon is probably the most powerful natural spice. It's more powerful than oregano. It's more powerful than anything. But when you're doing Cinnabons, that ain't gonna help. They tell you, oh yeah, Cinnabon. You think of cinnamon like that? That's hot chocolate, cinnamon, nutmeg. But cinnamon by itself off that stick, bro, it does wonders. It does wonders for the respiratory, right?
I know that one of the janitors at the school that I work at, she's from and she says that one of the things, because I was like, man, my uncle, he struggles with diabetes. I don't know what to help him with. And she says, what you need to do is that you need to tell him to chop up 2 cloves of garlic and just chug that down with water, and it will like stabilize his
blood sugar.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah.
And so now he's down to just taking like the minimal amount of his blood sugar medicine, and now he's trying to edit his diet so that he can get off of it.
And all this is just incorporation daily. Like, we cook every day, but that's the problem. Day you eat out, they're not putting basil and they're not putting these things in your food. They're putting salt. They're putting salt in your food and fake. The food industry, what do they put when they make things taste good?
MSG or
they make like
high fructose.
They put the high fructose, but they're making things taste good from the lab. Artificial flavorings, where we use spices. If you go and look in history about the 100-year spice wars, you think they were fighting over just what things was tasting like? The white man was spices. He knew about the healing properties of cinnamon and this bark and that bark. He heard about it. Sage, and they had spice wars for years, man, hundreds of years, fighting over spice. Not just for the taste, that was a big part of it, but because of the healing. I'm gonna go through a few more of these. You got, I'm gonna bark them out. You got peppermint, right? Everybody knows about peppermint. You got rosemary. That's another one. You got echinacea, right? They always say to prevent the cold, take some echinacea. Don't take it too long, right? These things are all antiviral with other properties. Am I saying you take these and you're gonna be healed of everything? No. What I'm saying is incorporate a regimen along with good eating, good rest, and you won't have to go get medication. You won't have to go get shots. I'm going to give y'all a secret. Every medication you take comes from one of these plants. Yep. Every single medication. The medication that they're trying to give people for this coronavirus, it comes from a tree bark. It comes from a tree bark, but they mix it with a bunch of other chemicals. Now it gives you diarrhea. Now it gives you loss of sight. Now it gives you loss of hearing. Now you can't talk. You can't control your tongue. You can't see. Like, they mix it with a bunch of other things, but that the main medication comes from a tree bark, right? What else we got? Licorice. Remember good old licorice? Disgusting taste, right? Yeah. Licorice, antiviral. What you gonna say?
It's also good for you if you drink a lot. It restores your liver.
Licorice, yeah. Astragalus, right? It's a herb, a flowering herb. That's from traditional Chinese medicine. People wondering why did China get back on track so fast, and they ain't got no antivirus. TCM, traditional Chinese medicine. They went back to China uses a variety of bitter herbs. Yep. Now let's think about it. If you go to your little sushi spot, what do they hit you with on the plate along with the sushi?
Wasabi.
Hit you with wasabi and ginger, which are herbs. Horseradish is in the same family. Same family with wasabi. Wasabi is probably the more powerful, but ginger, why? It settles the stomach. Antiviral, antibacterial. So when you eating raw, because they out there eating raw foods, man. So when you're eating raw food, you got to have something to settle that gut and to fight off some of that bacteria.
God.
So they eat the wasabi, they eat the ginger, they eat the turmeric.
Wow.
Right? Yep. You got to see it, man. The remedy is in cooking food. And remember one thing, when you heat up certain foods, you take away a lot of the properties that you take away the healing properties when you heat it up. So it's good to eat a lot of these. Like, you can eat raw ginger. You could just bite ginger and eat it. There's nothing wrong with it. You can shave it thin, eat it. Turmeric, you can eat it raw or juice it. These spices, fresh, you can eat them. You can just boom, boom. Somebody was saying spinach. That's full of iron. A little spinach, man, a little sea salt. Bro, you do wonders for your blood sugar. That's another blood sugar regulator. Spinach and salt, but pink sea salt. Not iodized table salt. You want that pink Himalayan natural sea salt. It ain't got to be pink. It can be white. But, white ain't right. Ginger. Right? Ginger is another one. I mean, we know about ginger. It's there. The sad part is, man, when you hit the grocery stores, even if you hit the grocery stores now, the whole produce section is full. Yep. The produce section is full. The vitamin section is full. The meat section is done. It's gone.
And bread, gone.
Meat, bread, milk, gone. I'm like, yo, what about like the salads and stuff? Fresh ginger is always good for the diet, for the belly.
I know I cook a lot. I cook a lot.
Yeah.
But with all of those spices, when you buy them fresh, you can freeze them.
You can freeze them, yep. And preserve them.
And use them whenever you want.
Yeah.
They're perfectly fine. Fresh and then freeze them.
Listen, I made a lentil stew the other day and I threw some thyme and some basil. Oh, man. That ginger.
That thyme was the truth.
That thyme, I hate that. That thyme. This guy, man, he had a Benjamite.
This guy's a Judite. You go to a grocery store. When you go to a grocery store, the first place you walk past is the produce section.
Yeah, but why do they put the produce section there first? Because those things go bad. They got to get them out the store. Yeah. Any store you walk into is going to be produce, so they want to sell those things. Yeah. But you got to walk past that to get to the beer, to get to the bread, to get to the processed foods. I'm gonna go. My bad. I'm gonna go over a little bit just so y'all know. But stick with me. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was seeing on TV, man. They even with the produce.
Yeah.
One thing they do with the beef is when it go bad and turn brown. They
color it.
Fresh
They
put it back out there.
Yep. They color it. They got something called meat glue where they'll take 2 cuts. You think you buying a filet mignon? You just buying gizzards that has been glued together.
Yeah.
There's a meat industry. So once they make it an industry, that means that somebody's making dough. That means there's a lot of deception. Y'all gonna see. Watch how the prices of pork go up. Not that we should be looking at the pork, but one of the biggest pork plants in the United States shut down. 700 people got the Rona, right? So now they're gonna be a shortage of pork. Niggas are gonna be going crazy. Can't get my pork ribs. Can't get my pork. But he's trying to prevent a lot of people from dying slow deaths because you're eating all the meat. You're not incorporating just simple incorporation of herbs. Red onion. Red onion is an antibacterial. It's an antifungal. It also aids with digestion. So when you do your salads, I don't like onions. You like being healthy? Because our problem is we eat for taste and not for health. Even when I was watching old dude, man. The dude that went to Jamaica, he went to Ito, little spot in Kingston. And the dude was like, man, he said, we got to eat to live, not for taste. Everything he made, everything he cooked it with coconut milk. He cooked chickpeas with coconut milk. He cooked anything you could think that needs to be boiled. He boiled it down in coconut milk. Nice. They were amazed. I'm talking about fresh coconut milk. Yes. Young coconut. Like, not that old process with chunk. Like, he was, boom, chop the coconut, drain the water, get the meat, that young meat, and just put it in the pot. Or strain it out, boom, 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 cook with it, boom. And the food just looks so amazing. They said the food tastes so good he didn't put not one piece of salt in the food.
Nice.
They said all the flavors
From the herbs.
from the ginger and the spices and this, and I was like, dang, that's how we cooked.
God.
That's how we did it.
We don't use teaspoon after teaspoon of salt
Yeah.
to making the rice and peas.
Damn, captain. I got another one for you. Dandelion.
I saw that.
Remember back in the day, you'd be like, look at the dandelions, and they say what? Oh, that's just a weed. Leave it alone.
God.
Right, bro? You could pick dandelions. I wouldn't suggest it now because dogs pee on them in the grass and all that. But you can pick wild dandelions, and you can just make a salad right out of dandelions. They got benefits. They deal with hepatitis, influenza. Like they talk about an influenza shot. For what? You got all of it here. You got all of it here. HIV, right? It kills it kills when the viruses try to replicate themselves inside of you. It kills that process. Go to Revelations 2:22. Revelations 22 and verse 2. Somebody else get Ezekiel 47:12. Because we're going to deal with some GMO. I'm going to show y'all what GMO is.
Said 22 verse 2.
Yeah, read.
Revelations 22 and verse 2.
Go ahead.
In the midst of the street of it, and on either side of the river,
Right.
was there the tree of life.
Right.
Was there 12 manner of fruits.
Read.
And yielded her fruit every month.
Right.
And the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nation.
They were for the what?
Healing of the nation.
Mango leaves. You boil that down. That's good for diabetes. Soursop. We deal with that.
Yeah.
That's good for, you want to get a little sleep, inflammation, right? It got melatonin.
The aloe vera.
Aloe vera leaf or plant,
Yep.
right? That's stomach. Before they thought aloe vera was for cuts. But you eat aloe vera, it's good for your gut. You got them ulcers, it'll bind some of that stuff up, right? You got the different leaves of different trees, man, that are good for the healing. Go to Ezekiel 47:12.
Ezekiel chapter 47, verse 12.
Go ahead.
And by the river upon the bank thereof,
Read.
on this side,
Come on.
and on that side, shall grow all trees for meat, whose leaves shall not fade, neither shall the fruit thereof be consumed. It shall bring forth new fruit according to its months,
Right.
because their waters they issue out of the sanctuary,
Right.
and the fruit thereof shall be for meat,
The fruit shall be for the meat, right? Go ahead.
and the leaf thereof for medicine.
And the leaf for the medicines, man. Now, remember, y'all, this is not a debate on what Sadie was saying about what's real and what's not. What I'm trying to show y'all is that even, like he says, garbanzo beans are the only real bean, right? Because of its pH level. I'm not dealing with the pH level. I'm just trying to show y'all, because there's some people that don't even know what a pH level means.
Okay.
Or what an electrified food really is. And some people are just being introduced to what it is to deal with healthy things.
God.
So let's deal with that. What's healthy? You see what I'm saying? Some people are still stuck on sweets and things like that, where it's better to eat any bean than to sit there and eat a bunch of cake.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? It's better to eat potatoes and things like that than eat a bunch of cake. And all that sugar's killing you. So remember, it ain't about, we know what Sadie is saying. We know what he said. I'm not going against anything that he's saying. But some people got to walk before they crawl. Jermaine, you might know a little bit more than the average Joe.
Crawl before you walk.
Yeah, crawl before you walk. But not everybody is privy to even the benefits of ginger. and that ginger can knock out a flu in days instead of you sitting there on a respirator for 2 weeks. Ginger, lime, honey, a little turmeric, a little bit of salt, orange peel. Bro, you'd be surprised what that can do for you. I got something for y'all, because there's a tea that this man drinks. Moringa. Watch, I'm going to show you something.
I do drink the moringa.
I'm going to show you about that moringa tea. Now check this out. And you know, the thing is, this is what I'm trying to convey, that herbs should be a part of our daily regimen. You know, you got people think like, how long should I take herbs? Well, if you're asking that question and you really don't understand the benefits of herbs, that they should be a daily consumption. Remember, every time you breathe in pathogens, you breathe in bacteria, you breathe in mold, you breathe in fungi. Every time you breathe in, like I'm gonna tell y'all something. When you smell poop, The only way you can smell something is if you breathe in the particles of that thing. So if I smell poop, it's because I'm breathing in actual poop particles into my nose. If I smell your BO, that means I'm inhaling dead skin cells from his BO. I'm not saying he got BO, but body odor. BO. But if I smell him, I'm inhaling the cells from his body.
Got it.
Right? So if it's fungi, if it's whatever it is, the body now, that's why you have the little stuff in your nose, the hairs in your nose. First line of defense when you inhale, to block out the bulky germs. That's why when you blow your nose, 90% of your booger is dead skin, dead insects, microorganisms. Like if you look at the air filter in your house and you look at it under a microscope, it's organisms. Listen, you have some microorganisms that live on your skin.
That's crazy.
That's what gives off your smell. People you have to without microorganisms, you wouldn't live. You got them in your body. That's why you have your good bacteria, your bad bacteria. But your body's function every time you breathe is to determine what's good, what's bad. How do we help our body? By putting the herbs into the body, by eating the right foods, by limiting the meat, the sugar, the caffeine, the processed foods, right? Let me deal with this GMO real quick. Genesis 1:29. I'm going to let you come in. Genesis 1:29.
Genesis chapter 1, verse 29.
Go ahead.
And the Most High said, Behold, I have given you every herb,
right,
bearing seed.
So I've given you every herb that bears a seed. This is very important. This goes back to the feedback loop. Every herb I gave you bears a seed. Go ahead.
Which is upon the face of all the earth.
Go ahead.
And every tree in which the fruit of a tree yielding seed.
Right, and every tree, which is a tree yielding seed. Y'all ever seen real pineapples? You know pineapples ain't this big, right?
Nah, it's small.
Pineapples are this big and they grow on a tree branch. Like 10 on each side. Real pineapples.
Damn.
They're in Jamaica. You gotta go up in the mountains. Real pineapples. When you look at you can grow pineapple and it grows on this stalk. But real pineapples, and they have seeds inside of them. They're not as big as that GMO. GMO. You bust a pineapple open, where's the seed at? There is none.
I never knew it had seeds.
That's my point. They take that out of it.
Banana.
Real pineapples, real bananas, those small, where you can see the seeds, it's black. You can see the seeds in them, but real pineapple, they got seeds that you got to spit. Yeah, and they're small. They're the size of plums, man. And you got the branch, and you'll see 10, 15 on one branch. Real pineapple. Yeah, real pineapple, not the fake pineapple, right? Everything that we eat is supposed to have a seed in it. There's a reason why. Because that's the information. Right? Now, when you go into DNA, when you go into RNA, DNA, when you go into nucleosides and nucleotides, the information of what this plant is capable of doing is stored in the seed. Y'all know that, right? It's stored in the seed. The information, if this plant is an antiviral, that information is in the seed. Why? So that when it replicates more antivirals. Right? So what does Esau do? They bind up all the seeds. They go into the seeds, right? It's something they go into what is called a nucleotide, right? Which is it's just the DNA makeup of the plant. The nucleosides. They go into the DNA makeup of the plant. They extract the benefits of healing from the plant, and they make a medicine out of it. Wow. So what does that tell you? Listen, all you got to do is go to the Mayo Clinic. Yep. No, that's not even it. Those are regular pineapples.
Oh, okay.
You're not going to find it. You ain't going to find it. You ain't going to find it, man. You ain't going to find it on the internet like that. You can barely find the real bananas. There's so many fruits that we don't know about. June plum. You don't remember June plum?
Yeah, I don't. People don't even know.
This guy right here needs to go back to the island.
I do.
You remember June plums? Chinese apples? right?
I know Chinese apples.
Yeah. Okay. Even ackee, right? Which they say that got fighting. That's a fruit that grows in Jamaica. That's part of the Jamaica's national dish. It looks like ackee and saltfish. The ackee looks like little brains, like little egg yolk.
Yep.
And you can't eat it until it opens, because if not, if you force it open, the pod, you'll eat it. It'll poisonous if you cook it or not. You'll die from the poison. It got to be open naturally. You cut that seed off. Boom. You cut off the middle. You boil it for 7 minutes, 8 minutes. Onions, lettuce, tomato. Not lettuce. Onions, tomato, some green pepper, some saltfish. You in there, right? Ackee and saltfish. So, where you at?
In the 29.
Read on. Read to 30.
To you it shall be for me.
Right.
Verse 30. And to every beast of the earth, to every fowl of the air,
right,
and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life,
I
have given every green herb for meat.
Right.
And it was so.
Leviticus 19:19. And then go back to Shamayar, give me Genesis 1 and 11.
Leviticus 19 and verse 19.
Go ahead.
My statute, thou shalt not let thy cattle gender with a diverse kind.
Right.
Thou shalt not sow thy field with mingled seed.
Right. Now, when you go into the GMO companies, Monsanto's, that's what they do. They mess with the seeds, man. They take the properties from the seeds, or they add things to the seeds. They'll be able to make a seed they make seeds that grow without water.
Gene splicing.
Yeah, they do gene splicing, right? But the Most High said don't mingle no seeds. So they'll splice this with that. Now it can grow without water.
So the seeds that we get at the store now, are those real seeds?
That's up for debate. That's up for debate. Like, are they the natural seed from the beginning? Probably not. I think the only natural seeds are the ones they got over there in what is that seed database in Antarctica? Those are probably the only, because even now when you look, they stop people from buying seeds because of this whole little coronavirus thing. You ain't growing your own food. Now, are the seeds GMO? Who controls all the seeds? I think it's Monsanto that controls all the seeds.
Yeah.
So they probably DNA these seeds in a way and GMO these seeds in a way that they don't give you the same healing properties that they once did.
Yeah.
Well, even if you do get like the natural seed, because of the cross pollination, like because they pollinate through the air, the vegetables and everything. There's no way, even if you did get the natural seed, for it to stay that way.
To stay that way, right? So there's many different factors, but again, cross pollination wasn't supposed to happen because you weren't supposed to have the same seeds, and you weren't supposed to have seeds next to each other in the same field. Different seeds.
With Monsanto, one of the things they do is, even if like the fruit they have has seeds, they did some type of genetic modification to where if you even put the seed in the ground, it's not gonna grow. It doesn't grow.
Right, without their specific fertilization or without some process. So the Most High is showing us there's a reason why we're supposed to eat things that had the seed in it. Because if he created it to heal us from the beginning, and then that information is passed down from seedling to seedling, right?
Okay.
Just like how your nationality is passed down from your seed to your seed, right? They interrupt that. They interrupt the healing process. So what they'll do is this. We're going to sell you the food without the healing process. We're going to get you sick. Then you got to come to us for the medication that we took from the same herbs that were supposed to heal you in the beginning if you just ate them. How devilish is that?
Man, wicked.
How wicked is that? Read on.
But
go to Genesis 1:11.
I was gonna say, but according to them, the Israelites are white.
Yeah. So, yeah, Genesis 1:11.
Genesis chapter 1 verse 11. And the Most High said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed.
He keeps reiterating the herb yielding seed.
God.
Why? Because if I change the properties of ginger, we know ginger is a root, so we're not going to use ginger. But if I change the properties of oregano, and oregano is supposed to be an antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal, and I change its genetic makeup through GMO and gene splicing, now it's just an antiviral. Or now it's not as potent. You see that? You see how they get us? So now you got to run to their medications. And their medications is what's killing. Read on.
And the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind.
Every fruit that you ate was supposed to have a seed, man. Seeded watermelon, seeded grape. Go find you some seeded grapes. You can't. Why do you think they rot so fast as soon as you buy them? Because they took something out of those grapes to let it be able to sit off of that vine. Remember back in the day, grapes didn't go as bad back in the day. They sat on the counter. They sat on your counter, room temperature, and was good. I remember having to freeze grapes like that. But now, as soon as you buy a bag of grapes, if you don't check it at the store, it already got the mold growing on it. Strawberries, blueberries, same thing. Blueberries, raspberries, watermelon, right? Say it just gets soft all of a sudden. Read on.
Whose seed is in itself.
Right.
Upon the earth.
Right.
And it was so.
Right.
Verse 12. And the earth brought forth grass.
Come on.
And herb yielding seed after his kind.
Right.
And the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself.
You see, after his kind. They don't need Monsanto to make seeds. The earth was supposed to replenish itself through the seeds.
Come.
But here come wicked ass Esau. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked, or we're going to modify these seeds because we want them to grow in these different conditions. Listen, they can gene modify a seed to affect certain DNAs or certain genetic makeups, I should say.
Yep.
Right? That's how they deal with that when you get into the nucleosides and the nucleotides. Those are the things that's the DNA. That's what makes up DNA. We all have DNA. There's plant DNA. There's animal DNA. When you look at DNA, truthfully, it's all the same. There's just different genetic markers that make human DNA different than what animal DNA is. But if you look at the strand of DNA, that little circular thing, it's the same in animals and humans. It's the same in plants. But plant DNA now is different because of the different genetic markers and the makeups that make the DNA what it is. So they're literally affecting our DNA. They're affecting the feedback loop of sickness and healing. Y'all see this, right? So now when you do eat herbs, they're not going to be as potent. They're not going to be as powerful. But a lot of us don't even go to the herb. We just go right to the medication, right?
True. So,
because that's where the healing information is. It's in the plants. Go to 2nd Ezra, 16:21. And then we're going to go into the... You can skip that, actually. So now let's deal with the physician. Forget about 2nd Ezra. Go to Ecclesiasticus 38 and verse 1. And then we'll end it down here. Ecclesiasticus 38 and 1. I seen, man, a brother... There was a cat that posted this scripture. He's like, yeah, that's why I got to go get vaccinated. The Bible says honor the physician. I was like, you're an idiot. Obviously, you got to read down, dummy. This ain't got nothing to do with vaccinations. Our level of physicians had nothing to do with what we think a physician is today. There was something that they did that made that was different than what you would consider a physician today. Watch. What's that?
If you think about it, even with doctors, that's why they run a bunch of tests. That's why they keep poking you and drawing blood, because they don't know what the hell's wrong.
They don't know what's wrong with you. They got to test you. They got to test you, right? Well, watch. Read this.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 30, verse 1.
Come on.
Honor a physician with the honor due unto him.
Right.
For the uses which you may have of him, for the Lord hath created him.
So the Lord created this man to be able to heal, for the use of man. Go ahead.
Verse 2. For of the Most High cometh healing.
But they had to remind us, for of the Most High comes this man, or this woman. Go ahead.
And he shall receive honor of the king.
Go ahead.
The skill of the physician.
The what?
The skill of the physician.
So there had to be a skill level here for this physician. Read.
Shall lift up his head.
Right.
And in the sight of great men, he shall be in admiration.
Check this out. So it's talking about this man. Then all of a sudden it jumps to this. Read verse 4.
Verse 4. The Lord hath created medicines out of the earth.
Right.
And he that is wise will not abhor them.
So why would it talk about this physician and then jump to medicines out of the earth?
Because he's supposed to understand
because he was supposed to understand what the Most High created to heal man.
Got it.
What medications from the earth do I now? Because think about it again. Is oregano just? Oh, I got AIDS. Oh, just take the oregano. Give me the oregano.
Nah.
I got the Rona. Just give me the oregano.
Nah.
No, there was supposed to be a confection of all these different things being put together to be able to heal. So depending on a man's symptoms, oh man, he's coughing, he got fever, he got headache, he got the shivers, he's cold, he got a flu. Okay, what we gonna give him for a flu? We're gonna give him something. We're gonna hit him with this. We're gonna hit him with that antiviral. We're gonna mix these together. We're gonna give him this to knock down the fever. Give him this to restore the body heat. We're gonna give him this, and we're gonna put them together, and in the right amount of doses, the herbs together, and heal this. That's why he reminded us. The Lord created medicine on earth. The physician was supposed to be skilled enough to use those. Go ahead.
Verse 5. Was not the water made sweet with wood?
What is this referring to? Who knows? The water made sweet with wood. When did this happen?
In Exodus.
In Exodus, right? When they went to Moriah, the water was bitter. Children of Israel murmured, what, Moses, you brought us out here to die of thirst? Most High told Moses what? He said, grab the wood, throw it in the water, and the waters became sweet, right? That's Exodus 15:25, right?
God.
What's that?
Could have been like sugarcane or cinnamon, like if you think about it, because
Let's deal with it. Let's deal with it. A good thought, because the first thing that popped in my head was like, what tree could make water sweet?
Damn.
Now, it wasn't just that the water was bitter. It was undrinkable, right?
Yeah.
Now check this out. Moringa. He drinks a lot of moringa tea, right? You hear moringa, even in the islands, a lot of moringa is drinking. And, you know, there's other people that have their thoughts on moringa tea. It's not beneficial. It don't do nothing. Now, I'm not saying that the moringa plant was what Moses threw into the water or the moringa tree. But check this out. Read that for me.
Moringa alifera. One of the most remarkably useful trees is one being cultivated heavily for use in the Sudan. The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations said that village women had successfully used the tree Moringa alifera, pictured above, to cleanse the highly turbid water of the river Nile.
So they used the moringa tree to clean the water. Think about that. Raj, read on.
After trying other moringa species in Egypt, Namibia, Somalia, and Kenya, they too have shown properties that clarify water quickly.
Right. So what they did was they took the moringa seeds.
Wow.
It said one moringa seed could clean a liter of water in 15 minutes from muddy to clear.
Wow.
Yeah. Think about that. Think about that. The Most High put things on the earth to clear water. You talking about, I got to go get my water filtration. And But there's a plant that you can put in water and it'll clear the water out. It'll naturally filtrate water. Think about it. Now, watch, read on.
Bottles of dirty and clean water. When moringa seeds are crushed and poured into a pot or bottle of dirty water, the water turns transparent within seconds.
Go ahead.
The seeds' antibacterial properties.
They have what?
Antibacterial properties.
Go ahead.
Can turn low, medium, and high turbidity waters into tap water quality in an hour or two.
Go ahead.
Studies on the effectiveness of moringa seeds for treating water have been done since the 1970s.
Go ahead.
And have consistently shown that moringa is especially effective in removing suspended particles from water with medium to high levels of turbidity.
And see, like the sister Kaya said, moringa seed is bitter, right? It be them bitter herbs that kill the majority of the virus bacteria. Bitter herb. The bitterness is what, like papaya seeds. You got worms. That bitterness of papaya seeds, when you crush them, it wipes those worms in your gut. They can't stand the bitterness of those seeds. And then you hit it with some pineapple juice. That bitterness and sweetness, it wipes them out. All those parasites can't live in that bitter environment. That ginger. That turmeric. I always refer to those things. We do a lot of pimento seeds in Jamaica. The clove, it's bitter. Clove is bitter, man. It's a bitter taste. Bitter herb. Traditional Chinese medicine was based off of bitter herb and a mixture of all these different bitter herbs to combat viruses. Go ahead.
So the turbidity means muddiness or dirtiness.
Right.
In water with high turbidity, a liter of water needs only one of the horseradish smelling seeds for effective treatment.
Moringa seeds smell like horseradish. Horseradish is a bitter herb.
Got it.
That's what we ate. We eat that during the Passover, right? The bitter herb.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
In low turbidity, one seed may do 4 liters.
Right.
When the water is boiled, this increases its nutritional effectiveness by making lectin.
By making what?
Lectin.
By making what?
Lectin.
What we talked about earlier about lectins. It creates antibodies.
Yep.
Y'all see this?
Done.
Jump back to verse 6.
Verse 6. And he hath given men skill.
So the moringa seed, the moringa plant, can clean water. Now, he said he gave us every herb and tree from the beginning. So is it far-fetched that he was like, hey, there's a moringa tree right there, grab that, throw them into the water and drink it? Break them seeds off and drink it? I mean, we can't be naive that he just cut down a piece of tree, cut down a whole tree, threw it in the water, and the water was good. Right? Let's think about it. Let's think about it. Right? They found a way to purify that water.
Yes, sir.
So that it was drinkable. Right? Read verse 6.
Verse 6. And he hath given men skill, that he might be honored in his marvelous work.
It was, because you got a lot of brothers even today that are skilled in the art of apothecary.
Yeah.
Apothecary ain't just, now it would be the herbologist. Apothecary, like Sabi was skilled in that. You got a few other brothers that are skilled in the art of apothecary or herbologist, right? But these were things that we understood. Think about it. Moses was an apothecary.
Yeah.
Right? The Levite priests were apothecaries. They knew how to mingle spices together. Remember, they mixed cinnamon, frankincense, myrrh, calamus to do what? To anoint and cleanse
Israel.
The temple. Now, this was the one for the temple because you didn't put on nobody.
Yeah.
But it has cinnamon in it. Why? When you're dealing with blood, and animal blood, you got to clean something. It wasn't spraying bleach. They had to have something that had antifungal, antibacterial, antiviral properties, right? Because they're dealing with blood. Yeah. So how do we kill the blood pathogens? Cinnamon, right? Frankincense, myrrh.
Wow.
These are all true. Frankincense and myrrh, that's tree bark and tree sap. The myrrh is the bark, the frankincense is the sap. Come from a tree.
God.
We burn it, the Most High loves it, we smell good, it makes you feel good. It got anti-cancer properties in frankincense.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So the Most High gave us everything we need. The whole point of this class is, go there real quick. Let me go here real quick. Watch. We're going to go to Josephus. Bam. You're going to finish and then we're going to end it with this Josephus. Finish it up.
Verse 6.
Right on time.
And he hath given men skill, that he might be honored in his marvelous works.
Right.
With such doeth he heal men.
With such doeth he what?
Heal men.
He heals men with the herbs, man. That's why when you go back in the Wisdom of Solomon, it said it was not herb or moldifying plaster that restored them to health, but thy word, O God.
God.
Right? So we know that the herbs are supposed to be for the healing.
Yep.
That's what it's going to be. That's what it's going to be. That's what it should have been from the beginning.
God.
But the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. So how do we... It's just like your modern day milk. You know why milk is not beneficial? Because they take out the best part of the milk and they sell that in GNC, which is the whey. They got the whey protein, right? They take that from the milk and they sell it to you. So you're not getting the benefit of the milk. You're just getting the byproduct of the teat being pulled on and overused and overmilked.
His girlfriend is a vegan, and she said that the reason milk is so bad too is because when they homogenize, they cook it, and when they cook it, it turns the milk into pus.
Yeah, they homogenize. What it is, this dude named pasteurized the milk. The dude named such and such. They heat the milk to a certain temperature, not too hot, not too cold, right, to kill certain pathogens in the milk. And yes, it kind of curs it a little bit. That's like this whole raw milk epidemic. But raw milk got pathogens that kills people. Babies that drink raw milk, some say that raw milk is good and it's a healer and it's God sent, and some people have died from raw milk. So, but I don't think that we pasteurized milk in Moses' time. Like, let's heat the milk up. We drank the milk. You know why you don't got to pasteurize milk? Why you shouldn't have to? A cow is a self-filtrating animal. It's self-filtrated. It's a self-cleaning animal. So there was no, it chews the cud. So there was no bacteria that was supposed to be in that animal. Especially not from the milk, where you were supposed to go to that cow, bam, does the body good. Get you a milk mustache early in the morning. But the milk, the way they do cows and feed them these days, the whole harmony, the feedback loop is thrown off. So now the milk is filthy. We drink it and just get sick. There's nothing there to heal us from that.
Were they drinking cow's milk or goat milk?
Huh?
Were they drinking cow's milk or goat milk?
They were drinking milk. They were drinking both. I mean, I grew up on goat's milk. I couldn't drink cow's milk. I drank that good old goats. It's thick and luscious. Go ahead.
And taketh away their pains.
Right, so he giveth men the skill to be able to put these herbs together in a symphony, in a confection, like it says in the Old Testament, of the and heal men, man. They weren't like, oh, you got the flu? Give me your arm. Make a fist. Injection on your way. Oh, you sick? Man, pop 2 of these every 4 hours, you'll be fine. And then, by the way, your toothache will be good, but watch out for that diarrhea and anal bleeding. Watch out for that. And if you pass out, we got something else for that. Yeah. Right. We become a slave to these medications. Then the byproducts of these medicines, man, that's what's killing us. That's what's killing us. When you go into that vaccine they want to hit cats with, bro, that's the get out drug. It literally shuts you down. It makes you get paranoid. It makes you get schizophrenic. But then you stop talking. You stop hearing. You stop seeing. You can't control your eyes. Your tongue starts moving by itself. That sounds like you just got demons on you.
Yeah, it sounds like demons.
But that's what they're doing. They're putting demons on people to medicate them more. But if we get back to the natural herbs, listen, even if you eat all the damn meat in the world, at least wash it down with, at least put yourself on a regimen. Like I got an older brother. He stays on a regimen of garlic, turmeric, charcoal, ginger, and he just got the powders. You know, he do the powders, man. He just mixes them up, blends them with some water, and every day he just down the hatchet. And you at least build a regimen so if you do, not saying you will never get sick. You're gonna get sick. Yeah. But if something like the coronavirus is out there, which everyone is gonna be exposed to, you can't fight it. You've already been exposed to it. Depending on your level of immunity and what you put in your body, that's going to determine whether or not you fall or how hard you get hit. If you are on a regimen of more natural foods, less processed, less sugar, man, that thing hits you, it'll be out your system 2-3 days. You'll have the regular little symptoms, the cough, you'll catch a fever, you maybe not, but you won't go down and then be on a respirator in the hospital.
Because the idiocy of the white man's logic with vaccines.
Yeah.
Immunizations is what they're doing is they tell you that we're giving you a little bit of the virus so that your immune system will build up against it.
Yeah, but let me show you how the immune system works. Remember I was saying you got different defenses? Your skin is the first defense. So things got to get through the skin, through the nose hairs, through your ears, through your eyes, eyelashes, right? So if a virus or a pathogen hits my senses, my nose is going to pick it up. Damn. There's no smell, but it's doing something to me. It's making my eyes water. Yeah. Your body is automatically going to send out white blood cells and antibodies to fight off. Why is his eyes watering? Right?
That's why you build up that mucus.
You build up that mucus to start purging that. Mm-hmm. Right? So the body starts you got all these different defenses. When you give somebody a vaccine, you bypass every defense. And that's why people die from vaccines. Because your body is not really given to fight. You just expose the last part that a virus needs is your blood. That's the last part. So I'm going to go right to the blood? We weren't doing that back in the day.
Exactly.
There was no Africans doing that. Africans didn't do that. We didn't do that. Because you got Cy Netter and the chemic community talking about, they don't do that. You got brother. Go get vaccinated. If you want to travel and do this, I'm not going to travel there. Give your body a chance to fight. That's why kids develop, like you see the CDC report, kids develop. They found that no evidence that kids did not get autism from vaccines. They get autism from vaccines. Yeah, I got a nephew like that. He got hit, bro. They vaccinated him, and it was like, that's a wrap. So for 30, 40, 50 years, they've been lying. Like, yeah, vaccines don't cause autism. Vaccines don't cause autism. But then now they're like, well, we have no evidence to really prove that. So they've been vaccinating niggas all this time, and they see that it causes it in black males more than any else. Yep. The type is 2 drugs they have in the vaccines, and one of them causes respiratory illness. Right? You can look this stuff up. Let me finish this real quick and I'll get to you. Finish that.
Verse 8. Of such doeth the apothecary make a confection.
The apothecary. An apothecary was a man that made different confections of drugs and stored them up. So he had things that was for the common illnesses, but you might have came with something that was like that. We've seen that one in a minute. Well, he got this. Okay, let me get that. He got that symptom. Let me get that. And I'll make this little confection. Take 2 of those. I'll see you next week. Right? Okay. Apple a day, keep the doctor away. Right? Okay. Go ahead.
And of his works there is no end.
There is no end of his works. Why? As long as this damn earth is revolving, there's a plant for every ailment. As long as this earth is revolving, niggas is going to be sick. Okay. Right? Go ahead.
And from him is peace over all the earth.
Go ahead.
My son, in thy sickness be not negligent.
So in your sickness, negligent. Negligent on what? Not to go to the doctor? No. He's going to tell you, read.
Pray unto the Lord.
But do what?
Pray unto the Lord.
Don't be negligent to talk to the Most High about what's going on with you. Read.
And he will make thee whole.
Come on.
Leave off from sin.
Do what?
Leave off from sin.
Why are we sick?
Leave off from sin.
Leave off from sin. Go ahead.
And order thy hands aright.
Right.
And cleanse thy heart from all wickedness.
Right. There's a verse I want. Go to verse 15.
Verse 15.
Because they're like, oh, the physician, let's honor him, right? Yeah, the Bible says that. But why do I go to the physician in the first place? Read.
He that sinneth before his maker,
right?
Let him fall into the hand of the physician.
Yeah, man, you fall, you sin, you're going to fall to the hands of the physician. And a lot of the times, the sin is this. And you're like, well, is it a sin to eat bad? Yeah, it is. It's a sin to eat bad. It's a sin to overdo anything. It's a sin to destroy your temple. Remember? The temple that's not yours, right? Corinthians, yep. Right? So it's a sin to destroy that. Now check this out. Let's go to the Josephus. And we're going to end it here. Right on, when 5 minutes over. Let's go to the Josephus, page 8 in the blue book. Josephus against Aphion. Right? Josephus, an Israelite historian, not the Bible. A good reference book. And this is a good point that he's bringing out about health. Read.
It says, whosoever shall have lived wickedly and luxuriously may repent.
Right.
However, there will be need of much time to conquer an evil habit.
Right. And this is what we got to remember. For those that are struggling with health issues, you're in your 30s, you're in your 40s, and you develop these bad habits. It's going to take some time, man. It's going to take some fight, but that doesn't mean that that's the end of the road. You have to fight. You have to cleanse your hand from the wickedness, humble thyself before thou be sick, right? And fight. Go ahead.
And even after repentance, his whole life must be guarded with great care.
Part of his life.
His whole life.
Well, I'm going to do it. I'm going to just be on the herb for 6 months.
His whole life.
Until I'm healed?
His whole life.
See, now you got to make a lifestyle commitment. Now there's got to be a lifestyle commitment.
Okay.
Because it's easy for you to fall right back into that bad body, that bad state of body.
Yep.
You got to start developing better habits. Israel got to develop better habits, man. Is it a sin to eat bad? Yes, it's a sin to eat bad. Yes, I'm going to say it. It don't say thou shalt not eat bad. It don't say it. It doesn't. But you're destroying your temple, and you're not, how can you be used for anything in the Most High if you're not here? If you're dying of some weird-ass disease, how can you be useful? If you're a woman that's 30 years old and you can't walk after 15 minutes of standing, how are you useful to your husband? Your legs is numb, cramping up, you can't breathe at night. Like, how is that useful for your husband and for your children? What you gonna be around to teach your kids? To eat bad? That's what a lot of y'all don't see. Your habits that you feed into your child from your bosom. When they taste that Big Mac in your breast milk, when they taste all that sugar and caffeine in your breast milk, you develop a habit with that child. They now become dependent. And they want that. They want that meat. They want that caffeine. They want that sugar. And you just now taught a lesson to a child on how to be unsatiable, like the scriptures say. Unsatisfiable. Quick to dip your hand in a bountiful table. You got to wake up and see, man. Because that's the feedback loop between a mom and a child. Go ahead. Like for instance, if a mother is breastfeeding a child and the baby's breaking out on their face, what is that? That's you're eating something that I shouldn't be having. You're eating something I'm allergic to. If the baby is constipated but they're drinking your breast milk, that means what? You might be eating too much dairy or cheese. Because breast milk is a natural laxative. It's a natural sleep aid. It's a natural this. It's all natural. But the feedback that you get from your breast milk is the children. How come they're irritable? Well, you might be eating too much meat. How come they got cholera? Because kids develop cholera. Well, how come kids got heartburn, indigestion? How come they burping and farting all the time? Oh, I ate too many beans, right? You'll hear it. Oh, I ate some beans, so the baby's going to be having gas. You gotta be careful of what you eat and feed to the baby, and you'll be able to see it, man. If they're constipated, that means you don't got enough water, and that means that there's something that's missing from your diet that they need. Okay. They ain't sleeping. There's something that's missing from you ain't getting enough melatonin in your diet for the baby. Y'all see this, right? Right. Finish it up so we can get about.
After Slakia, and even after repentance, his whole life must be guarded with great care and diligence.
His whole life, man.
After the manner of a body, which after it hath been a long time afflicted with a distemper.
You see that? It been a long time afflicted with a distemper. Diabetes is a distemper. Hypertension, AIDS, herpes, hepatitis, B, C, D. These are all distempers of the body that if you just say, you know what? Let me go back to more natural remedies. I'll be able to take these things away. But now I got to stay on the path. Go ahead.
Requires a stricter diet.
Right? A stricter diet, man.
Yep.
It's about discipline. Go ahead.
And method of living.
Yeah, you got to change the method in which you live.
Yep.
Meaning you got to get more rest. So you can stop doing the energy drinks, stop doing the coffee, so you can stop filling your body up with acid, so your joints can work. So when you do walk around, your feet don't get numb. So when you do move around, you ain't tired 5 minutes in. You climb some steps, you want to die. You got to sit down. But you're 35. What do you mean you're tired? You see, so it's a flow that we got to develop. And I'm still working at it. I ain't perfect. Because I love a burger, a burrito, and pizza. So y'all brothers know my weaknesses, right? They know what I'm down for. But I still daily try to juice, ginger. They always hear me saying it. They always hear my juicer going on. We on the phone every day. I'm blending it up because I know me, and I gotta at least try to balance out the things I like to give myself to. I gotta at least balance out. Because if I don't, bro, I'll be up here overweight, fat in the face, smelling like In-N-Out. Smelling like pizza.
Like Whataburger.
Yeah, he be smelling like honey mustard sauce, dripping from the side beard. So
that smells good.
It does. It's spicy. That smells nice. Anyway, so Abadai, you had your hands up.
All those things that you can have and eat them healthy because you can do pizza and put vegetables.
Yeah, put vegetables. Yeah.
You can do burgers. You can make bean burgers and beef burgers and stuff like that.
Absolutely right.
Still have the same effect in your mind as
Yeah.
if you were eating meat.
As you were eating meat. And again, this is not a meat bashing class, but I just want to show you the effects of overeating. Because I could do this. Listen, I could do the same thing on sugar and show you the effects of sugar. You're basically no different than taking crack, right? It's the same process. They both come from a green plant. By the time it hits your table, it's a white powder. Yep. And I can show you that sugar affects your body 10 times worse than crack does. You just don't snort sugar. You taste it, right? I watch him. When I give him certain things, I'm like, whoa, This dude's energy level spikes beyond comprehension off a piece of ice cream. Just sugar. So, it ain't a meat bashing class. It's a let's step by step, day by day, take the turn to be healthy. You know what I'm saying? And make, Esau says do healthy choices. We know they don't know what real health is. We got to go back to Daniel and Moses and, come on, Elisha, Elijah, they were healers. He told the old boy to go bathe in the river and you'd be healed. What was in that river? You got Dead Sea, right? River and all that stuff. They got healing properties. You got mineral water. Sabi Village had that hot water that was mineral infused. Then volcanic water. You sat in that and you were healed. Somehow. You drink that. It heals you from the inside out. So it ain't far-fetched. We just got to do a regimen and consistency, all right? All right, any questions on the class? I know I kept y'all for the full 3, but Con. Everybody online? I know we went over, but I didn't want to part 2 this, man. I didn't want to part 2 it. It wouldn't have did a justification to part 2 it. We'll be back here Saturday. Y'all gonna get VA tomorrow. So make sure y'all watch out for that. We appreciate everybody that been watching. How many people we have on there? 27. Okay, yeah, not bad. Not bad for a Wednesday. Yeah, we appreciate y'all watching. We appreciate everybody that's been helping out with the school bills and rent. We appreciate it. Definitely. Man, ain't no mall. We can't bring in nothing. So y'all are carrying the load for us. We appreciate it. Yes. We can't thank y'all enough. And like the scriptures say, you give alms, the alms will be there for the day of your death. That's right. They'll save you. So, that's just what it's going to be about. All right. But with that, we'll end it. Let's say shalom. Shalom. We'll see y'all back here on Saturday.
The Most High is my rock. The Most High is my rock. My rock. The Most High is my rock. In the name of Messiah, the Most High is my rock. The Most High is my rock.
My rock.
The Most High is my rock. Yeah. The Most High is my rock. I keep my Bible on. The Most High is my rock. No time for cupcake in the cutlet. Start cutting. The Israelites are bubbling. The Israelites are coming. I don't celebrate Thanksgiving. You can keep the stuffing. It's pagan. This day ain't. It's nothing. The European. And I feel for you if you the Lord. Why I hit the booth and I tell the truth. Are you fishing with the truth? The fruit. Most High is your rock. Don't treat him like a side. This truth plan to treat you like a side piece. He's the God.